Welcome everyone to That's Never Happened Before. This is a hotfix show that has in the past been one Saturday a month at 7 p.m. Eastern. However, tonight is the first episode that we are actually switching to Mondays. And not only that, Mondays at 10 p.m., but we're doing 2 shows a month now. So awesome. More glitch run content, glitch exhibition, run breakdowns, things like that, unintended mechanics. You're going to hear about all of that, learn about all of that. So hi, again, I'm Kungfufruitcup. I never introduced myself first for whatever reason, but hey, I'm Kungfufruitcup or Fu. I am joined by Catalysts, who tonight is going to show off some Dark Souls for us. We're going to see some Dark Souls all bosses and get to learn all about the things going on in that, all of the glitches, all of that. So hey, Kata, how are you tonight?
Hello. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Woke up at 3 in the morning for this, so that's exactly how I'm doing, but should be good fun.
Usually I'm still awake at 3, but that's just me in my life. I was going to say, wait, I shouldn't have said good evening. I should have said good morning. Kind of so nice to adjust to the new show times and be on this morning, and I really appreciate it. So I'm super pumped to learn. I'm not going to lie. I had a hard time playing Dark Souls. It's a hard game, and I love exploring, and I felt so like punished for trying to explore. It was so frustrating. But like I totally understand all the things that draw people in, like everything that you can do for different builds and the ways you can learn to fight bosses and all of that. So I'm really excited to learn from somebody who has so much experience and knowledge about this game to like see it in kind of a new light. I just wanted to ask before we get started tonight, like how long have you been running Dark Souls, or like what? Yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah, I picked it up at the start of November. It's gonna be about 4 years now, so it's been a decent amount of time. I've been pretty active
Yeah.
throughout those 4 years as well, so it's not like I've been taking huge breaks. So yeah, a lot of hours under my belt by now, which I'm not sure if that's something to be proud of or something to be more sad about, but it's just what it is. It's the reality.
I feel like I hear people say that occasionally about like the games they run. They're like, I've been running this for a long time. I don't know what that means. But because you've been so consistent with it, would you say that there's like how often are there changes that happen to the game, like new things being found?
A lot, actually. It's quite surprising, considering the game is, original release 2011, this version 2012. So it's been out for a while, but I want to say every year there's at least one major breakthrough that shaves off like a decent amount of time from some of the runs and from some of the categories. So it's a pretty active game when it comes to new discoveries, and there's a ton of them, and I'm sure there's still ton of them waiting to be unraveled as well.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to be hearing a lot about these things that have been found in all throughout the run. Maybe occasionally we'll see strats that are the newest, and then we'll see other things that were maybe used in the past that are still kind of like glitch related, or just like here's how you do this glitch, or if you want something more advanced, here's how you do this. You see that on the show a lot. So maybe we'll get to see some of those happening throughout. I think it's going to be great. So I'm going to leave it to you. Feel free to count down whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so we are on the title screen, as you can see. I'm just gonna say a couple of things in regard to the run. So as I mentioned, a couple of routes. Essentially what we're gonna be doing is all bosses. I'll be showing off a route that isn't currently the fastest, but there's a good reason for that. This one is a little bit safer, and it also shows off a bunch of pretty cool strategies. It's actually the route that's currently being used for an all bosses tournament that we have. So if you guys are interested in that, I have to plug it in immediately. Twitch.tv/SpeedSouls. That's our community channel that we run community shows on. It's not just Dark Souls 1. It's basically all from software related stuff. So give that a follow if you're interested. And this is basically a route that is optimized for a tournament setting. And we're going to be starting as a thief. That's very important because the thief has the master key as his starting gift, which also allows us to start with black fire bombs as a separate item, which will make some of the early game a little bit quicker. And then the physique and the other appearance doesn't matter. It's just I prefer to play with very slim because there's less character on the screen. I can see a little bit better. So yeah, that is essentially kind of the gist of the run. And I think we'll be starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. All right.
Awesome. I love how you dress them to make them less on the screen. That's perfect.
Just a visual preference. It's not a big deal. But yeah, we started in Undead Asylum. If you've never played this game before, there's a good chance that you've at least heard about it. Couple of important pointers. Top left is the health bar and the stamina bar. I need to have at least one stamina point to be able to perform any kind of action. Also, when one interesting thing already, whenever I'm gonna be starting to sprint, I will always be either toggling my weapons, switching my weapons, or I am going to be blocking like after these doors. That allows me to actually start sprinting a little bit sooner. So this is the first boss. I'm just gonna use the black fire bombs that we have as a starting gift. They deal a lot of damage. It's 5 black fire bombs to get rid of him. This is one of the big reasons why we start with the black fire bombs. Here in the asylum, I will just be picking up one of the starting items. I don't need the shield because that is for Peaches. Instead, I just get the bandit knife. And basically coming up already is gonna be the first glitch. So normally I wouldn't actually do this, but I'm gonna quit out next to this wall. All right, 1 second. I might be having there we go. I just had to reset my stream in the Discord so who could watch. Should be good, hopefully. So you saw me jump next to a wall, and normally what's supposed to happen here is I'm supposed to trigger a boulder, and the boulder's supposed to break the wall, right? But the developers gave the stand-up animation of the player destructive properties, which is really important because that allows us to just jump next to this wall, reload the save file, and then the wall is boom, and the wall is gone. So the reason this is a thing is because probably they didn't want you to get stuck or whatever. So they gave you the destructive properties on stand-up, right? Because you can quit out basically wherever. So you can break any breakable object like this. There are a couple of other uses in the run. We're not going to be seeing it today. But yeah, there's more than just one use for this, which is pretty cool. All right, so we just exit the asylum now. Another small little thing that I'll be doing here at the end is I'm going to be opening up one of the menus. In particular, it's going to be the key settings menu. Now, this menu and the brightness menu are quite glitched. You're going to see that throughout the run. But as I open the key settings menu, I can keep it through the upcoming cutscene as I jump into it. And while I spam start to skip the cutscenes, the menu will still stay open, and it will allow me to skip a very small prompt that is always there when I enter Filing Shrine. So I'll be doing that right now. Skip the cutscenes, menu stays open, I can close it, and then I can start sprinting immediately here without being stuck in a prompt that tells me that I can like level up and stuff. So very small time save.
How tight is the timing on that?
Oh, it's very lenient. You have plenty of time while you're midair.
Oh wow. So as he goes along throughout this, feel free to ask me any questions in chat, and I can relay those to Kata.
Yeah, I've got the chat open as well, so should be pretty easy. All right, so I'm gonna be heading to Undeadburg immediately. This is like the first area of the game that you're supposed to go to. Here's Hellkite Drake. I'm gonna try to roll this impact. I kind of failed, but that's no big deal. And there's gonna be a huge glitch coming up again. But this one is really huge, actually. So here's...
So what...
Yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna ask right before with it was a dragon foot, right?
Yeah.
So what was you said you were gonna roll for impact there?
Yeah, so essentially if you roll and time your iframes correctly, you can skip the stagger that I had to go through.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. So here's Undead Merchant, and I have to do some business with him, right? He's petting his imaginary pet as well. So the problem is that I'm poor. I only have 2,100 souls. I'm gonna start by buying 3 arrows. I'm gonna need them for some memes in the run. I'm gonna buy the rapier, which is gonna be very important for one of the most bread and butter glitches of the entire game. Same for the short bow. I'm gonna buy the shield, because having a shield is nice. Even though I said it's for Peaches, but this shield is good. And now I have a problem, right? Because this bottomless box, which is important for some glitches, costs 1,000 souls, and I only have 70. But if you look, there's two, basically, if you look at the top, at the category icons, you have the consumables here, and you have the key items here. And it just so happens that the bottomless box has a firebomb in the adjacent slot, which costs only 50 souls, which I can afford. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to abuse the fact that this is a PC port and there's both controller controls and also mouse and keyboard controls. So right now, there's a cursor on the screen. It's probably not going to be very accurate, but if you look at the category icons again of the items, on the left and right side, there are two different arrows, and I can click on those arrows. It's not going to look like I'm clicking on them because this game is a little bit of a meme. But essentially, trust me when I say that right now my cursor is on the top right arrow to switch the category icon, to switch the category. So if I press left mouse button, it's going to switch, right? But also, if I open purchasing the firebomb at the same time, I'm going to be able to take this prompt to purchase the firebomb into the adjacent slot of this bottomless box. So I do it like this, and now you can see that I have the purchase prompt for the bottomless box, even though I'm not supposed to be able to do that, right? Because if I just open it normally, it tells me insufficient funds. But when I prompt swap, as this glitch is called, I can purchase it. So it's still gonna detract 1,000 souls, but I only have 70 left, so it's no big deal. I just lose those 70 souls. In the top right, you can see 0, but I have the bottomless box now. So this is a very important glitch. It revolutionized some of the routes back in 2019 when it was discovered. It has many different uses. I'll be talking about them in some other places of the run as well, because we'll be using it again. But this is like the biggest use that it has, is just purchasing items that you cannot afford.
Huh.
And it came in really clutch in 2019, because there was a route in all bosses, the fastest route, where you essentially had to collect a lot of souls in the early game, as you needed quite a bit of souls to purchase a lot of items before going into the mid game. And yeah, this was discovered and it allowed us to basically skip all of that. So that was really cool. So there I picked up the gold pine resin. I jump around this barrel so it doesn't hit me. The gold pine resin is important for early game damage on these upcoming bosses. Simply because the bandit's knife doesn't actually deal that much damage. However, conveniently, this next boss, Taurus Demon, is also weak to lightning. So I'm gonna apply the resin here. It's just a buff to my weapon. And this fight should be kind of easy. Well,
Has it ever been beneficial to try to knock him off the edge, or is that usually RNG?
Yeah, so essentially you can try to pull it off, but it is pretty random, yeah, especially with the bandit knife. So Taurus can fall here.
Nope. Yeah, no, never mind. Nope, ignore me. That was very fast.
Yeah, Taurus can fall off this ledge here. Depending on which weapon we have for this fight, it's more or less likely. Of course, if he falls off at the very beginning of the fight, it's a little bit faster than actually doing the fight. But it's not something that we would like actually grind for, because it's not really worth it, especially in any of the longer categories. All right, so
I think there's a mouse on the screen.
Yeah, I can move it away. I guess people will be triggered by that.
Chat's like, oh, mouse on the screen.
I mean, when I do the runs, I always have the mouse on the screen. At this point, I completely ignore it. So, yeah, it's just something that PTD runners always deal with, because, like I said, we will be putting the cursor in the right spot in advance, so we don't have to do it during gameplay, right? We do it like in a loading screen and stuff like that. So.
Okay, so keep in mind, everyone, the mouse may appear on screen for glitch reasons.
Yes, but I'll try to remember to always put it to the side.
Sure, no problem.
All right, so this bridge can be navigated in two different ways. There's obviously the way to get straight through, and then there's like a way to get underneath. The fastest way is to go straight through. So that's what we're gonna do. The problem is that there's gonna be a big scary Drake here, the guy that we already met on the bridge. And he would kind of burn us to a crisp, so we don't want that to happen. So that's why I have the bow and the arrows here. I'm gonna run to a safe spot here behind the corner. Then I'm gonna aggro. Well, I got hit. That's okay. I guess I made him angry. I'm gonna aggro him with the bow. I'm gonna run on the bridge. I'm gonna apply the resin. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut his tail. Nope. Okay, have to do that again.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So there's a chance you can cut it off with the resin
Yeah. I
applied.
basically started
Okay.
attacking a little bit too late. Don't burn me.
Mm.
Okay, he burned me. We might die here, but that's fine. Can just run back. Couple of quit-outs could fix this.
It's the beauty of this show as well. Take your time.
Got another fire attack there. Please stop. Okay, still alive. Didn't take damage there. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can kind of clutch this. Stop. I just need him to do something else. I need him to do like a melee attack or something. There we go. Now he's chilling. We got out of range, so now he's not aggroed. So that was quite a nice save, actually. This is something that can go air-eye. I'm glad that it did. So we got to show how to actually try to salvage this. So I'm gonna aggro him, get on the bridge. And get the tailcat here. So this is important because I could have just normally run underneath him. But getting the tailcat not only allows me to stagger him there, but more importantly, it gets me the Drake Sword. And the Drake Sword is a weapon that I'll be using for the upcoming boss. There's literally just one use for it in the run. But killing Iron Golem atop of Sen's Fortress would have been an actual disaster. Like
Why do you say that?
Without the Drake Sword, right? Because I would only have the Bandit Knife or the Rapier or something. And those things don't deal damage at all, so...
Right.
I'm gonna navigate through Parish here. Get around this guy. And there's gonna be a very... very crucial sequence break coming up, but I'll take my time to explain it first. So I'll run past here, and then we will do another quit out to de-aggro the enemies. As you might have noticed before, whenever I quit out, it puts the enemies back to their default positions. So now we have time to actually explain this. All right, so coming up next is the so-called Sen's Gate skip. The upcoming area is Sen's Fortress, and you're only supposed to actually... Let me actually go show it while I explain. You're only supposed to enter it once you ring the 2 bells of awakening, right? So one of them is after Galgirls, one of them is in Blighttown after Quelaag. So I'll be able to skip both of those things. I'll take this bonfire because I need to take it at, during the skip anyway. And as you can see, that gate is closed right there. And
where Onion Bro is.
when you pull the 2 levers that are at the bells and you ring the bells, you give a sign to a giant atop of the Sen's Fortress, and he pulls a bunch of chains and opens the gate. But we can skip that. I will still come back later and actually do it and ring the bells, but that is for different reasons, and I'll explain that later. So I just level up 11 endurance, 11 strength there to be able to use the Drake Sword. And let me show you how we skip this. So essentially, this was found in December 2016. So it feels like it's been a while, but when you think about it, it's just been about like 5 years, but it's been part of the run. It's such an integral part of the run that it feels so mundane to a lot of the runners and even viewers. It's like such a default skip by now. So essentially, there's a state in this game called the Death Cam, which is a top-down view, which normally triggers only when you're when you're falling off of a platform or something. It gives you more of a cinematic feeling, and it also, what's important, it stops everything from loading or deloading, right? And that is because the developers expect you to die. So as such, they don't want any weird shenanigans happening with like areas loading or deloading if you're falling from like one area to another. And funnily enough, even though this released like so early and it has been in the game obviously since release, this was only discovered after the Death Cam was discovered in Bloodborne, which released in 2015. So Bloodborne saw the first Death Cam skip, and then people started to fish for things in this game as well. And essentially, what happens here particularly is you can drop off this platform there. As you can see, there's no railing over there. If I
like up the stairs?
Yeah. Let me get the bow. Like right up the stairs there. So there's an area here that you can fall off to. Now, the important thing is that the Death Cam and the kill plane here are 2 different entities. So that means there's a plane on top, which activates the Death Cam, And then right underneath it, but not completely overlapping it, is the kill box, which reduces the health bar to 0. So that means if we are somehow able to hit only one of the planes, we can activate the death cam state without dying. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And it took a while to discover, but it's actually really, really simple when you think about it. And fortunately for us, when we activate the death cam right around here, the start of Sense Fortress is loaded, but the gate isn't, as in order to save computing power, the game loads assets to areas later than the areas themselves. So those assets would include like ladders, ladders, doors, elevators, and also gates. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bait one of these hollows, and then I'm gonna parry and riposte him on the side. And if done correctly, it should clip my character through the wall, and we should activate the death cam. Now, it's gonna look maybe a little bit wacky afterwards. So if you suffer from vertigo, please maybe look away, but I think it's worth it. Yeah. So
you have to be like at a certain angle when they're coming at you. Like, what's the best way to get them to help you clip?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be standing in a specific spot, and then I'm also going to be basically parrying him at a specific time and then doing the riposte. If I'm too low, I will die because I hit both of the planes. If I'm too high, I'm going to be above the planes and not get the glitch to activate. So I'm going to get this guy.
Here he comes.
I'm going to wait for him to come here. Parry into a riposte, and here we go. That's the death cam already.
Oh, wow, because he pushed you back.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, so now it's going to be all... Oh, my gosh, wow. Okay.
Now it's basically GTA 2 style, as I like to call it. So now I even have, like, tank controls, right? Like, I basically, if I hold one direction, I'm going to be going forward no matter what. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. So it looks like we're out of bounds, but we're not. You can see by the dust particles, I'm just running on the bridge right now.
That's so weird.
It's all just the top-down view. So here's the start of Sense Fortress. I'm gonna quit out to reset the game to normal. And voila, we are going to be in the fortress. With the gate being closed right behind us, so... You might be asking why I don't continue any further. That is because, like I said, nothing loads or deloads. So basically here, I'm going to quit out so these lizards don't bother me. But there at this point where I'm quitting out is when you would fall into back in, or rather out of bounds, I should say, right? This is where it stops loading. It's not loaded any further here. So you cannot run through Sense in the death count.
So this is all bosses, but theoretically, you've actually skipped a few bosses so far. I assume you're going back?
Yeah, we'll be going back because it's going to be much faster to come back with better gear.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Just wanted to confirm. Because I have to think through it with, like, my base knowledge of the game.
Yeah, some of the routing might be a little bit confusing. Don't worry. I've had a lot of YouTube comments tell me, like, oh, you didn't call all bosses. And it's simply because they don't go... you know, like 40 minutes into the run to see that I still kill Capra and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a classic.
For sure. I have somebody asking you to do move skip. Can you tell me what that's about?
So there's a glitch called move swap. I think that might be referring to it, and I'll be actually performing it right now. So I will explain it.
Okay.
So this is one of the most important glitches in the entire run. It's the bread and butter of the Prepare to Die edition speedruns. It is what makes it distinct from the remaster and basically any other Dark Souls run. So essentially in this game, you already seen some menu abuse and you're gonna be seeing a lot more of it. The main thing is that in this game, you can queue up an action and then open the menu and perform menuing while that action is queued up, right? So imagine that... For example, I get stuck in a roll and I press R1. This R1 is queued. Hello there. Boom. Bye. It's gonna be bothering me, so I have to do another quit out. But yeah, so the action queue in this game can be heavily abused. And as you can see, I have the bow in my left hand. And normally, like, you can two-hand weapons in your right hand, right? Like I just two-handed the rapier. But only the bow can be two-handed in the left hand by pressing L1. That's the only one, the only item. And the big deal is that you can queue up two-handing the bow while you're stuck in something. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be jumping. And then while I'm in this jump roll, I'll queue up two-handing the bow. So if I just let it play out, I pressed L1 there. Well, I pressed it too early, so it didn't do it. And then like it immediately happens afterwards. However, because of the menus, I can swap out the bow for a different weapon. So first I'm going to change the order here so I have it easier to swap out. And that way, the game is going to two-hand the weapon that I select. So it's going to look like this. Right? And now I'm two-handing the Drake sword in my left hand. And you might be thinking, well, what's the big deal, right, about that? Well, the big deal is that the bow only has the arrow to shoot. It only has an R1 attack. It doesn't have any running attack. It doesn't have a rolling attack. It doesn't have a plunging attack. And as such, when I two-hand a weapon in my left hand like this, it's gonna be fetching that info from the right hand instead, where I have the rapier equipped. The rapier is a thrusting weapon with a very fast running attack that actually hits in 2 ticks, and my damage will still be taken from the right hand, from the left hand, from the Drake sword here. So I'll be able to essentially deal double damage very quickly. And
that's really cool.
instead of utilizing regular attacks, I'll be basically using running attacks throughout the entire run. And that's kind of the distinct gameplay of Prepared to Die Edition speedruns. So let me show you. If I equip the Drake sword, regularly two-handed, and I do a running attack, it looks like this. It's like an overhead, right? If I equip the rapier, it's a thrusting attack. And if I move swap now, the Drake sword now has the thrusting attack as a running attack.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'll be using that, but not just yet, because here I have some business to attend to. So hello. Boom. Okay. Gonna quit out again so he doesn't bother us. So here, this wall is actually also breakable with my own body, like we broke it in Asylum. But it's a little bit trickier to do because there's unstable ground right in front of it. So if I just came up to it and quit out, it wouldn't actually break because I would spawn a little bit further back. There's a way to bypass that by dropping from this bridge on the cage here and then jumping from the cage into the wall. However, because I have the Drake sword and the Drake sword R2 is a weapon art that can send enemies backwards, I can just Drake sword R2 the lizard and his body breaks the wall instead. So that's pretty cool. Hold on, I'll just one more detail. One cool thing is that this wall that I just broke, it extends all the way basically throughout this entire plane. So technically I can drop there and quit out there and it's gonna break the wall here. But the problem is that from there, from that ledge, it is impossible to return. So I would have to return to my last bonfire. So that's just a little cool trivia. But yeah, go ahead, what were you gonna say?
Oh, interesting. So I'm wondering, like, what about, like, you reloaded and the enemy no longer targets you? It's like you don't exist anymore.
Yeah, this is because this guy in particular is not aggroed by default. So if I quit out, he's gonna be de-aggroed again. But enemies would normally attack me after the quit out. But yeah, this guy's on a different level of zen, as you can see, leaning up against the air. Yeah, he's just chilling. I mean, I can't blame him. It's 4:30 in the morning here in Europe. Like,
right. Right, exactly. Somebody wants to know about the quantity usage glitch.
Oh, that's gonna be coming up later in the run. We'll give it due diligence. Don't worry.
Yeah, this is trying to cover like as much as possible that you could get, especially in the all bosses category, since that's what the run is.
Well, I ended up suffering the same fate as the snake before.
Yeah.
So normally these things are all on a cycle and it will be pretty consistent. So what I did there, the reason I broke the wall, I went to free Logan. Logan is a sorcerer that gets trapped, and saving him basically progresses a quest line.
Oh.
And he's gonna be able to sell me... Ow.
Oh.
So I got hit by the boulder and by the snake at the same time. That was kind of unfortunate. All right, we'll get to do all of this again. That's no problem. But yeah, so with Logan, oh, I'm online actually. Dang, that is. All right, let me go offline on Steam really quickly.
Probably bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't want to get
Get a raid right
any
in the
memes,
middle.
but yeah, I'm online because I currently run all achievements in Dark Souls Remastered, and I have to stay online on Steam and then go offline within the game. But for Prepare to
Gotcha.
Die edition, it is actually impossible to be offline within the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So
but
make sure to throw it on up for me again when you're ready.
of course.
Awesome.
Well, at least, you know, all
Looking
bad
at
things are
chat.
good for something. So dying there in St. Fortress at least showed me that I was online. It's
No,
not,
you're online. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
not something you want to do. Okay, let me pop up the stream for you in the Discord. There we go. Okay. So let us return. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Thank you.
Logan's questline essentially allows me to buy some sorceries from him, which is pretty important for this run, because they're gonna be very, very useful later on. So the weapons of choice for this run are going to be the Drake Sword, which I'll use on Iron Golem, and it's also going to be the Dragon Tooth, which is like a very slow but heavy-hitting weapon. However, thanks to Muswap, I can obviously bypass that downside of it being slow. And then I'm gonna be using sorceries as well. Okay, so
Gotcha.
let's do this glitch again. Again, if you're suffering from vertigo, sorry that I have to show this twice to you.
Would you say that that you are just consistent enough at this glitch where it's easier? Would you say this isn't something that's like has an incredibly high learning curve?
Oh, it's definitely pretty easy. I mean,
Cool.
I know speedrunners are going to say that about a lot of things, but this is
Yeah.
definitely something that with just a little bit of positioning, it's not going to be very problematic. Some people might struggle with some of the movement here during this death cam state, because like I said, you have tank controls. So if you're doing it on controller, you essentially need to find a specific spot on the analog stick that will move you forwards, which is about an 11 o'clock position. And then you just need to like slightly diverge from that direction. This particular skip or this particular death cam, I actually do on keyboard, because on keyboard you only have 4 directions, so it's a little bit more intuitive. But there are other death cam skips in the game that I, for example, do on controller, because controller allows you a little bit more precision of movement. And in some death cam skips, you're actually navigating around enemies, and as such, having more precision is always beneficial.
Right. I'm so good at avoiding.
These pendulums, if I quit out at the same time when I'm entering Sense Fortress, they're always going to be on the same cycle, so
Yeah.
it's actually very easy to navigate around them.
And that's something that you typically do, like you want to put out there.
Yeah, because you need to reset everything back to normal.
Did it save the wall? Oh wait, you haven't done that yet?
I don't have to go back to the wall now. The Logan stuff is already done.
Oh, so that's saved.
Yeah, all of that is saved.
Okay, nice.
All right, so normally these boulders again will be on consistent cycles, but because we re-entered Sense Fortress, it's a little bit of a meme. So I'm gonna do a bunch of quit outs just to reset them to make sure I don't get hit again. All right, cool. So here's traps here. You can just slow down a little bit, run through them, no big deal.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm gonna politely ask this snake to get out of the way. Social distance, please. Thank you. And I'll be heading over to the top of Sense Fortress now, where Iron Golem is going to be waiting for us. So Iron Golem is actually a pretty cool fight here. It's quite technical, really tests the player's ability to, the speedrunner's ability to control the character, since there's quite a bit of precision involved. Essentially, he is a tank, so dealing with him normally would take a long time, even with the Drake Sword.
I used a summon.
Yeah, Tarkus is insanely strong here, actually. He can deal with Golem almost solo, pretty much.
Yeah, I needed that so bad. I was really bad.
But there's a little bit of a gimmick here. Essentially, dealing 400 damage below his knee level will make him start, will make him stagger. Let's get Bob out of the way. And then further 200 damage below knee level will make him fall. So the strategy here is to essentially try to line him up in such a way that he's going to be standing perpendicular to the edge of the bridge. And if done correctly, he'll be able to fall off. And his fall animation is quite wacky, so it's definitely...
So you can make him fall. Oh,
yep.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'll be doing these running attacks now. As you can see, it's going to be dealing damage in 2 ticks. Making sure that I pan my camera so that I'm attacking as low as possible. Okay, here's the 3rd. Fist slam into a 4th running attack. That is 400 damage right there, staggered. 2 more running attacks for 200 more damage. And...
So him falling is intended.
Yep,
Like
that is correct.
Oh, that's very cool.
Never skip leg day is all I gotta say about this.
Yeah, I was just screaming for Tarkus. Yeah.
All right.
But,
so now we are in the basically in the mid-game area already without having done really any of the early game bosses besides, you know, Taurus. And this is really good.
Because of this Sun's Gate.
Yep. This is really good because it allows us to obtain this mid-game equipment. I'll be taking a bonfire here. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I don't want to risk dying going back all the way to Undead Parish, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a time where like safety saves and stuff is good because you often want to explain things and maybe reload and yeah.
Funnily enough, that bonfire there, like bonfires with firekeepers actually loading kind of late, so that's why I jump in there. Because jumping, for example, jumping towards this elevator here as well, if you don't have to wait for the recovery animation of the jump, it's actually like the fastest way to move. So jumping into cutscenes or jumping into cutscenes or jumping onto elevators and stuff like that is a little bit faster than just running there. So here we are progressing casually, just doing a little bit of parkour. I will make sure to heal up because these guys here can be quite ruthless with their daggers. I have to climb.
I saw you took some intentional damage because you wanted to jump down faster.
Yeah, that is correct. Gonna navigate these rafters. Let's see if Painting Guardians decide to do some memes. Ow. Oh, that was a meme. I wanted to parry him, but then I changed my mind and it was too late. Another memer, but this guy. Goodbye. This is what's really nice about the thrusting weapon on the rafters, that you can just push them around pretty easily.
Right. For sure. That makes sense.
I'll be equipping the Drake sword here. And I will also be moving it. I forgot what I'm exactly supposed to move. Oh, it's because I have the hilt. I was supposed to drop it, but I forgot. No biggie. So let me drop this and let me take this here. So I'm just reordering the menus there. So when I pick up the next weapon, the Dragon Tooth, it will go into the correct slot, right? Because when I'm moose swapping, I want the bow and my weapon of choice, which was the Drake sword. I want them next to each other, essentially.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be taking this bonfire now and also this ring. So this bonfire is important because I'll be coming back here later to clean up some of the early game bosses. Not early game bosses, Adelanto bosses. And I'm gonna level up a little bit of endurance and strength here. These are stats that will allow me to wield the Dragon Tooth.
Oh wow, okay.
And when it comes to the stand-up animation breaking things, I should be able to show this off as well. So I will jump into this wall. I'm not gonna be killing the boss here just yet because I don't have the necessary damage. But this is an illusory wall, and I can just break it by jumping into it and then quitting out next to it. The jump,
oh my gosh,
is important because just like with the with the wall incense fortress, there's a little bit of unstable ground, so I cannot just walk up to it. But jumping off of this small tombstone here basically gives me enough height that I can jump over the unstable ground all the way to the illusory wall and just get through it like this. So that's
awesome.
Pretty cool, yeah. Normally, you're supposed to get like the Dark Moon Sans ring to be able to get through it and dissipate the wall, or make Adelanto go dark, which is what we will do. But yeah, there's this way of getting through here as well, which is pretty funny. The ring that I picked up isn't important for its actual properties. It is important for a glitch, though. I need any kind of a ring that I can equip and unequip, and this one's just like directly there, so That's why I picked it up.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I was going to ask actually.
So here I'm gonna do something cool as well. Normally elevators, most of them, if you activate them and then quit out, they're gonna be basically put to the other state, right? So if it's at the bottom, you pull the lever and then you quit out. If you don't quit out too early, next time you enter the game, it's gonna be on the top position, on the other position. This elevator is a little bit different though, and it needs to dock all the way for the position to store. So what I can do here is I can activate the elevator and then exit it before it gets to its final destination and quit out. And what ends up happening is this elevator gets reset back to the bottom, which is gonna save a little bit of time later on, as I have to keep the elevator in that position when I'm coming back to Analondo. So I'm gonna be able to basically skip having to wait for it to come down. So I'm gonna just jump out of it like that and then quickly quit out. And then the elevator is not going to be there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's back
So
at the
it's
bottom.
just as long as you jump out a little early,
That's correct.
then you're able to. Cool. Okay.
One thing I should also mention is that normally, well, now I'm running to the cathedral, to the next boss fight. That's going to be ONS, one of the trickiest boss fights of the entire run. Here I can also get like spears from the Batwing demons and stuff, so I will actually have to pay a little bit of attention.
Okay.
Like that.
Oh, wow.
But what I was going to say is that I actually forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. Oh, geez. I beat ONS first try.
Yeah.
And
what was I going to
I
mention?
don't know how.
Well,
No idea how.
That's the thing, right? Like, I kind of get annoyed sometimes by, like, I don't want to say annoyed, but
Oh,
what I want to say is that sometimes discussions about, like, difficulty in Dark Souls can be quite misleading, because you might end up getting, like, very favorable patterns on a boss fight, and then you consider it easy, even though, you know, if you redid the boss fight a couple of times, you would struggle. So I think it
Right.
always takes a little bit of time to kind of figure out the difficulty of the game. All right, so I wanted to
Yeah,
show
I
off
agree.
something cool here with the Drake Sword R2, but I got wrecked. So I'm going to heal up here, and I still want to show it off. So normally you can get this Silver Knight to just fall off, but there's a cool strat that you can do if he keeps on shooting arrows.
okay. I'm curious.
Yeah, he's still not shooting arrows.
Oh, so you're trying to reload him where he'll have his bow out.
Yeah, I'm basically trying to
Mhm.
get him to not do a running attack there. There we go. So you can run up to him and then just Drake Sword R2 like this. And it looks pretty funny, so
Because
goodbye.
he'll shoot like above you.
Yep. But what is interesting, what I have to mention, is some of the hitboxes in this game can be quite wacky. But From Software, the developers, really gave due diligence to the player hitbox. So when I use the Drake Sword R2 like this, notice how I raise my hands, right? If I do that at the incorrect time, the arrow is actually going to hit me because my hands are raised up. So my hitbox also extends upwards. So
Oh,
that
okay.
is,
It gets like too accurate.
yeah, it's quite a bit of precision in the player character. Like, if you notice when I jump, the character also spreads out his hands. And you can, for example, get hit by a projectile into your hand that you normally would
I
miss
see.
you. So yeah, there's quite a bit of precision when it comes to the player character.
Gotcha. All right, what's the next, like, what would you say is the next unintended thing we have coming up?
The next unintended thing that's going to be coming up, that's going to take a little bit of time, actually.
Okay. This is more like straightforward for, I mean, well, I don't know if I'd say straightforward, but for now you're just kind of making some general progress.
Basically, yes.
Lots of running.
This is how you would navigate through stuff regularly. But the thing is, there's actually a skip here as well that allows you to get into the cathedral. I'm thinking whether I should actually show it right now or if I should show it later.
Dragon Tooth, gotcha. There's another item down here that I thought was useful.
There's the Havel armor here.
Yes,
which,
that was it.
which
You said
allows
all
you
the time.
to tank a lot of stuff. I wanna. So another glitch, actually, now that I talk about it, I might as well do it. The homeward bone is an item that normally takes you to the last bonfire, and as you can see, I only have one of it. However, in a similar sense, in a similar fashion as I perform the moose swap, I can also dupe a homeward bone. So the way I would do it is because it has a confirmation box like this, I can queue up using it and then delay it by opening the start menu. So as you can see, I have the start menu open, and if I close it, the box is gonna pop up right now. Right? So this is, again, like a pretty big thing where you are able to perform actions while something is stored in the memory or in the action queue. So what I can do is I can store it like this, delay it, and then I can open up my inventory and use a consumable, right? So normally I should drink the Estus flask right now, but what ends up happening instead is that the Estus flask gets the properties of the stored item. So when I press use item, the confirmation box shows up. However, when I confirm it, I lose the Estus flask charge and keep the homeward bone. So that this way you can dupe any item with a confirmation box. For a long time, this was like the only way to dupe souls in this game. Now we have a lot more ways that you will actually get to see later in the run as well.
Awesome.
All right, so I'm thinking if I have a save file for the Silver Knight Archer skip, because I might be able to show it off. But there's a bunch of other glitches that go into that, which we will explain later. So if we have time, I will actually come back and show you a way how to get into the cathedral with Death Cam skip, which is pretty cool. But yeah, let's leave it for later.
Yeah, love to see that.
So coming up is going to be the ONS boss fight. As I pointed out, it's one of the most random boss fights. There's a lot of skill that kind of comes into it with some little manipulations. I will make sure to heal here because if I'm full HP, it will allow me to face tank an extra attack if necessary. I'll be moose swapping for the fight. And here you'll get to see the power of the Dragon Tooth, because not only am I dealing a lot of damage, I'm also dealing a lot of poise, so I'm able to actually stagger the enemies pretty efficiently if they can be staggered. So there's 3 different openings that I can get. Depending on the opening, I'll either go to the left or right. The goal is to separate the 2 bosses as much as possible. So I'm getting the walk-in opener, which means I'll go to the right and wait for Ornstein to approach me. Getting the first dash, try to get him around the try to get him around the pillar there. There's a jump. Double jump from Ornstein. I need to see what Smo is doing. I'll try to bait out an attack from him. I'm playing it a little bit safe here just so that no memes actually happen, but that's the last one. And that is Ornstein.
Ooh.
So phase 2 is gonna be a lot simpler because if everything goes correctly, I should be able to just stagger lock Smo, like so. Okay, well, there's the first meme. Ow.
So he'll one-shot you?
So this is actually, I'm pretty happy that this happened because this is one of the few scenarios where Smoke can actually kill you like that. And that is if he iframes the, well, doesn't iframe, but if he jumps through the poise, right? So you saw that I didn't stagger him there. And I played it a little bit risky and went for another running attack. If I wanted to play it a little bit safer, I could have just waited for him to do an attack, dodge it, and then go for another one.
Right, gotcha.
And in the phase 1, the same thing actually happened with Ornstein, which is pretty rare, where essentially he jumped away immediately at the start, which made him not get staggered because he was jumping through that poise damage.
Right.
So now the fight is actually going to open up a little bit differently because there's no cutscene. So I'm getting a dash. We'll just open up like this. All right, getting him to hop around. Again, I'll try to navigate around the fight. Get stagger in, try to bait Smo.
Are you still doing a double attack here, or?
Yep. This Dragon Tooth, as you can see, it still has the thrusting attack.
Okay. Just upon switching weapons, does that happen, or did you use the same technique you did from earlier?
Yeah. I did the same thing with the moose swap.
Nice.
Like before Iron Golem. Okay, so this should hopefully go a little bit smoother. Oh, he's doing the same thing. So then I get to show you that you can just walk back and see what he does instead of going for another running attack immediately.
And he's down. That's awesome. Okay.
All right, picked up the souls that I lost. I probably didn't actually have to now that I think about it. So funnily enough, actually, if you look at these elevators, this one is pretty big, and that's because that is Smo's elevator.
Oh, makes sense. I guess it's just not things that you often think about.
And then
I mean, unless you're, you know.
this one is a lot smaller, which is Ornstein's. And funnily enough, what's also really cool is the fact that this elevator is a little bit faster. So after the fight, we always want to try to get to this one instead of the one on the right. But obviously, depending on where the fight finishes, that's going to change.
Right. Somebody wants to know if it's possible to beat them both at once.
Nope. That is impossible. Okay. There's actually checks for that. And you're going to end up with Super Smo, I believe. Simply because the game first checks if Ornstein is dead at the end of phase 1. So that's the way it's programmed, right? The sequence is first, if Ornstein dead, on Super Smo.
Sure.
If not, is Smo dead? Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So normally, I would use my arrow here to shoot Guinevere's illusion, because this is just an illusion. It makes Anolondo go dark, allows us to go fight Gwendolyn pretty easily. And it's also faster than talking to her. However, because I messed up on Hellkite Drake, I had to use my arrows, so I only have one left. So I'm not going to be using my arrows, and instead, I will chug Black Firebomb her way. So
I didn't realize that.
From this NPC, you get the Lord Vessel. Obviously, this is a very important item. Allows you to warp between bonfires. And now that she's gone, I'm going to dupe a Homeward Bone again and let's enter the last bonfire. So from here, we have a very simple goal, and that is to ring the bells, right? So we skipped it earlier by doing the Sense Gate skip. And I said that we would still have to do it. Now, the reason for that is that awakening, or rather ringing the bells of awakening also awakens Framt in the Firelink Shrine. It doesn't just open the Sense Fortress. A lot of people actually tend to forget that from my experience. And this is important because I'll be performing some business with Framt, and I want to do it as soon as possible. So right now, that's what the goal is. So the first goal is to obtain the Dragon Tooth, basically, kill ONS, get the Lord Vessel. Second goal is to awaken Framt, so that's what we're going to be doing now. So first, I'm going to warp to Firelink Shrine. This is going to allow me to essentially skip an extra rest later on. I also need to get rid of this hammer. Don't want it in my inventory. Then I'm going to warp to Undead Parish. Just some
you have to
reordering
warp
again.
To Firelink to warp somewhere else? Wait, what do you do?
Yeah, because essentially, I have to rest at Firelink. I want my last bonfire to be in Firelink. Because after ringing the second bell, I want to return there, right? So if I warped to Parish from here, from Anolondo, I would return after Gargoyles to Anolondo. I would have to warp again, so that's still 2 warps, just like I did now. But then I would have to rest in Firelink, and this way I can do 2 warps, and then rest only. I don't have to rest an extra time at a bonfire, so it's like I don't know, like 3 second, 4 second time save or something like that.
Somebody wants to know if there's a way to clip through Frant's place without him spawning.
No, that's impossible. It isn't really loaded, and there's a kill box there anyway, I think. But yeah.
Okay, I see.
I actually forgot one thing. I forgot to level up intelligence, so I need to get smart here. So let's do that. So I level up 15 intelligence so that Logan can talk to me. Like, I take all this effort to, like, break the wall in Sense Fortress. I free him with my Master Key. The Master Key is basically for Logan and also for the Gold Pine Resin door that we opened. And it's also going to be used for a shortcut in a bit. And he still will be so condescending that he's not going to talk to me unless I have 15 intelligence.
Let's just...
It's awful, awful guy. So yeah, so right now, I'm going to be heading to the Gargoyles, which we skipped. And that's going to be a pretty swift boss fight. Because it is an early game boss. I have the Dragon Tooth, which is a mid-game item. I'll also be moose-swapping it, so we'll have a lot of damage. Before that, I'll also activate this shortcut here in Undead Parish. This is for being able to go back to the Asylum and kill Stray Demon. which is gonna be next goal right after talking to Framt. So activate the shortcut, navigate around this guy, well, move him out of the way, I guess, because he's not doing anything. Hollow Room can be a little bit scary. There's a lot of enemies here.
All these little...
Hollows, yeah.
Yeah, all the little hollows, yeah.
The thing is also there's the channeler who can buff them, so they can actually deal quite a bit of damage. So there you saw me perform the moose swap again. This time it was off of the ladder animation, ladder climb up animation, which is pretty neat. Instead of doing it off of a jump roll. It's again because I'm stuck in an animation as I'm climbing up, so I'm able to queue up, two-handing the bow, and then swap it out for the dragon tooth.
That's really cool. Yeah, anytime you're mid-animation like that. Gotcha.
Yep. As long as the animation is long enough. So there, I did a running attack as the gargoyle flew up, so I actually hit its tail as it's, its wing as it's extending downwards. Pretty cool. And as you can see, it is a one-hit stagger for the gargoyles, simply because they're just such a weak early game boss.
Holy, that's awesome.
All right, just some menu reorganizing again. So here I have 40,000 souls. I don't actually need them for anything right now, so I can just dark sign. That allows me to not have to duplicate the homeward bone, so saves a little bit of time. Get on top of this tower, ring the bell, and then then return to filing. So this is the first bell of awakening, and the second one is in Blighttown, which is where we're gonna head over to immediately.
Gotcha.
Before that, however, there is one pesky guy here that I have to get rid of, and that is Lotrick. This sir right here, that is that breaks free from the undead parish if, or rather, when you ring the bell. So normally what he does, if you leave him here, there's a firekeeper here, and he's quite hungry for her, so to speak. And if he kills her, you cannot rest at the bonfire and firelink anymore until you restore her soul. So I want to be using that bonfire. You can still warp to it, but I wouldn't be able to rest at it, and I want to do that. So we're gonna get rid of Lotrick here, quite simply by kicking him, punching him. Punch was unintended, but I mean, gets the job done anyway.
You just kick him off.
So yeah, he's gone. Quite hilariously, his 1,000 souls also will allow me to purchase Sorcerer's Catalyst here from the blacksmith. So yeah, pretty useful.
Amazing.
I'm gonna send the elevator back up because I'll be going down here again very late into the run, and it's faster to just send it back up instead of pulling the lever afterwards. So there's Rickard here. He's got a lot of talking, and I'll be purchasing the Sorcerer's Catalyst from him, which is the necessary spell tool that will allow me to cast the sorceries. So here, this is again where the Master Key comes into play. As you can see, use Master Key to open up the shortcut. Pretty big deal.
Yes, I use that as well.
And now heading to Blighttown, there's a bunch of ways to descend. I guess it might be actually a good opportunity to show a bunch of them. All right, I will show you like how to do it casually. I will show you how to do it with a little bit more speed and then with the most speed. So,
okay, awesome, perfect.
A little bit of a break here. I'm gonna quit out. I'm gonna actually open up my save organizer and make a save file so that I can always return to the top here really quickly. All right, let me swap out, import save file. Let me just rename it BT top. So this is basically a tool that we have that is available to us speedrunners in order to practice very efficiently. So we can make a save file in front of like every boss fight. We can make a save file just whenever we need to, essentially. And then there's a bunch of other tools that we can use to like store our position. Makes practicing very efficient and it's really, really useful. So normally when you're going through Blighttown here, you essentially want to be taking these ladders or dropping by them. So you would sort of drop like this, drop around here, I suppose.
I guess.
And then you would take this water wheel elevator thingy and go all the way to the bottom, right? Then you wait for this to go down enough so that you can drop, and you are at the bottom of Blighttown. So that's That's one way. That was like the initial way that was used in the first speedruns.
Right.
Then
The early on.
people discovered that there's a quicker way to drop, and you can actually just run up on this plank and drop off like this. Drop on this plank here, drop down here, and on the water wheel. And that's quite a bit quicker, right? But you still have to wait for the water wheel, which takes a lot of time.
Right.
But the drop is quite a bit quicker. And then there's a third way to get down to the bottom. And that one's gonna need a little bit of explaining. So essentially in this game, and you're gonna be seeing it a couple of times throughout the run, but in this game, when you plunge attack, so that's like when you attack midair, R1 midair, when you plunge attack a slope surface, you enter an kind of a glitched animation that allows you to roll mid-air. And if I can basically plunge in such a way that the animation is still active just as I'm about to hit the ground, I can time my roll and its invincibility frames so that the fall damage is prevented by them, right? So that is
cool.
one of the...
Because I was gonna say, yeah, you fall this far, you die. So you're doing like that downward stab, and is it gonna like take you down at the angle and then you roll at the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You pretty much got that directly right. It's actually going to be 2 plunges here.
Okay.
There are multiple ways to bypass taking fall damage in this game, and this is one of them. You're going to be seeing another one, a glitch called so-called air rolls.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll be talking about that when that's obviously present. But yeah, it's a pretty... I want to say it's a pretty visually impressive skip that we're going to do here. So first I'm going to actually wait for this ogre to meme away, hopefully. So I'm going to jump down here. I'm going to plunge this slope surface. Glitched animation. Roll at the bottom. Fall survived. That's 1 out of 2.
Okay.
And now 2 out of 2. Boom. And we are at the bottom. Just like so.
Oh, wow. I see. Okay.
So
that's very cool. So you just have to make sure you get that roll at the right time, and then you're good.
Yeah, you have to. Well, the plunge itself is kind of easy, like getting the R1. You have to go at the right angle, and then you have to time your roll at the bottom as well. So it isn't actually as easy, especially the second one can be a little bit trickier, the blight down plunge.
Okay.
The first one's
so
kind of
again,
right.
like you can't face that hill like dead on straight, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The second plunge is also a little bit tricky because there's a kill box there. So if you like roll too far to the right, you're gonna hit it and just die instantly. So you don't want that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, this is all good stuff to know.
Yep.
You know, in case anybody in here is like, I want to learn how to run this.
All right, so here is the second guardian of the second Bell of Awakening. It's Quelaag. Again, I'm gonna use the Dragon Tooth. I moose-swapped it there. And there's a bunch of different openers that I can get. If I get a jump, which I did, I might be able to hit her mid-air like so. That is because the Dragon Tooth hitbox just extends so far. I'm gonna attack her butt here to force out this attack, which will allow me to attack her in the front. And that's that was pretty good.
So fast. Amazing.
So yeah, that is actually pretty important sometimes in some fights. You might get an AoE attack, which would force you to like go far away from her.
Right.
Because there's no way to dodge it. But if you deal enough damage into her backside, you are able to basically interrupt the AoE cast and force out that fart attack. So that's pretty cool.
Right. That's cool, like how you can kind of manipulate her attack patterns.
All right, we ring the second bell. We might as well watch this cutscene. It's kind of cool. I have to refresh anyway. And you'll get to see the Sense Fortress being open here, actually, which
nice.
is basically useless. We're not going to go back there anymore, but yeah, it happened.
Perfect. So are there other boss fights that you use that same kind of manipulation in, where you force certain attacks out of them?
I'm trying to think. Not really. I mean, there's of course like positional manipulation that I'll be attempting in some boss fights, but you cannot really like interrupt attacks and force out different ones in many other boss fights. No.
Gotcha. Oh, it's useful for her.
All right. Well, that's the Sense Fortress open. Very cool. It's gonna help out when we never go there anymore.
Right. Right.
So here is an Engi, and Engi is in the way. So what we do is we slam the Engi. So that's the Engi. Then I also firebomb the worms that would kill me if I didn't.
Right, because they're pretty rough.
Yep. And now what's important is I'm going to be placing my Soul of Quelaag. So in this game, again, if you're not familiar, just to maybe more of a casual audience, when you kill certain bosses, you end up getting these soul items. These soul items can be used, as it says, to acquire souls, the currency that you can level up for and purchase equipment for, or to also ascend weapons, which is not what we're going to be doing. As you can see, got a soul from Quelaag. I also got a soul from Smo, and earlier I got a soul of Iron Golem, which I used to level up the stats for the Dragon Tooth in Analondo. So the bottomless box is an item that essentially allows you to just store your stuff in it. So if you have a lot of weapons, for example, from your casual playthrough, you don't want to be carrying them around. You can put them in the bottomless box. Demon Souls, the predecessor to this game, has an NPC that does that. Here, you can do it at any bonfire if you purchase the box. So I'll be putting the Quelaag soul into the box, and I'll also be putting the arrow, one arrow that I have left, into the box. This is very important. I'll explain that in a bit. Then from here, I also want to take this bonfire because I don't want to have to run all the way through Blighttown again when I'm coming back later to kill the bosses here in Isolate. So I take this bonfire and I will warp back to Firelink Shrine.
Makes sense.
So, as I said, besides just opening the Sense Fortress, we also opened the pit in Firelink Altar. And that spawned this little boy here. Well, it's actually kind of tall. And now it's important to talk to him and place the Lord Vessel at the Firelink Altar. You can do it without him. Now I could just jump into the pit, but I would basically make him very angry, and he wouldn't be a friend. And that's bad, because like I said, there's some business that we need to conduct. So I will place the Lord Vessel.
You can aggro him like that?
Yeah, he's not gonna be aggroed, but he's just gonna leave. Like, he's not gonna be there anymore. He tells you that you are not the chosen one, that you're a sorry fool, and whatever. Yeah, so
oh my gosh, I didn't realize that happened.
Yeah, it is important to actually talk to him.
Gotcha.
All right, so there's gonna be a really big glitch coming up right now. As I said, we have some business to actually to deal with here. So I'm going to be using the quantity usage glitch, or quantity storage glitch, I should say, sorry. That was mentioned earlier in the chat. And I'll also be combining it with the prom swap. So the prom swap, what it does is it allows me to, as you can see in this menu, you have the same kind of arrows that we had at the Undead Merchant. So that allows me to also carry on prompts from one category to another. And this is pretty important because I have placed the item in the bottomless box, but I can still offer it to Fram. So you can basically feed him items, and that will give you souls, right? So for example, these twin humanities, I could technically use them to restore HP and gain humanity, or I can also get souls if I sell it to Fram. You can do the same thing with soul items, right? Which, funnily enough, I think the Soul of Quelaag only gives you 8k. Maybe it gives you 12, actually, so maybe you're getting scammed here. I'm not quite sure. Whatever, the point is that if I place an item in the bottomless box and then somehow am able to offer a higher quantity than I possess, or that is stored in the bottomless box, what's gonna happen is the game essentially thinks, well, you offered more than that, so you probably should have more than that, and it's gonna dupe that item in my bottomless box.
Awesome. Okay.
Right? So that is very important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first dupe these arrows. So I have the max stack of arrows, which is 999. The reason I want that is not only because I want to have the arrows, but I'll be able to store that quantity, right? That 999 quantity, and manipulate it in a different prompt. But that's the second part of the glitch. First, we need to dupe the arrows. So in order to do that, what I will do is whenever you go through a loading screen, the internal quantity that is stored is 0. But 0 allows you to select up to 99 for like whatever reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna again queue up using an item and then take that prompt into the menu here. So the same way I was duping the Homeward Bone before, right? When I did this and opened the menu to store it, and then this confirmation box is stored,
Right.
it also stays stored as long as I'm moving. So I can open up the start menu, and if I'm moving, it's not gonna show up, right? You see it's not showing up, it's not showing up.
Right.
If I stop, it shows up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to store that confirmation box and then talk to Fram. And then when I stop moving, the confirmation box is gonna show up while I'm in Fram's merchant menu.
While you're talking, right?
Yeah, so now I'm talking, and now I stop. And it showed up.
Oh, okay.
And this is going to glitch out this next confirmation box, because it's gonna ask me whether, like, how many arrows I want to offer to Fram. So I confirm here, and as you can see, specify quantity to feed, it allows me to select 0, because that's the internal quantity that is stored after any loading screen. So now I can select any number all the way to 99.
Awesome.
And I'm going to select 99 because that's going to, well, it doesn't really matter. I could select just 2, for example. But 99 is technically only 1 input, so it's faster to do it that way. So I'm gonna confirm that, and that's gonna feed him not only the 99 arrows, so I get 99 times 5 souls, that's not a lot. But as you can see, the standard arrow, there's a number there, it says 1. I confirm, boom, it says 999.
Yeah, suddenly it gave you the ton.
Yes, so...
Because, yeah, okay.
Because it is in the bottomless box. If I just did it from my inventory, it would actually not work. So it is of utmost importance to always place the items in a bottomless box. But
right.
Now that I have 999 of something, it means I can open up this prompt, and then this quantity of 999 is stored in the memory. Because the game always has to, like, calculate the number that it can offer you. You know, the quantity that you can select. And it is stored now. So I can do the same thing I just did, where I manipulated the quantity of 0 that allowed me to select 99. I can do the same thing with the 999, right?
So you're gonna do it with the souls, so that you get like tons and tons of souls?
Exactly. So
oh, okay, here we go.
And look at the top right at the soul count.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't wanna show this to the Anolondo fraud department. Don't tell them I taught you how to do this, because I might be in trouble for that. So I'll be doing this a couple of times, and what's also happening is not only am I getting 999 times 10,000, it's also duping the soul of Greylock in the bottomless box. So immediately after, I'm able to sell 98 of them. So I get a lot of souls this way.
Because you still had the 99 that was originally put in there. Okay.
Yeah, that got duped, exactly. So I just, again, I open up the arrows to store it. I store the prompt here. Do it again. See, now it's duped, 99. I select 98, so I keep 1 of them. And let's do it a 3rd time, because that is the amount of souls that I need for the levels for this run. Now I can just offer 99 because I don't need the soul anymore. And then I open up this humanity as well to store the number 4. This is going to be important here because I'll be doing the exact same thing. But immediately you're going to see a different application of the glitch. And it shows you how versatile this can be. How this this game's glitches in general can be versatile when you think about menus. So this is Logan, right? We freed him. And what I'm going to do, again, I have the quantity of 4 stored. And I will again take this prompt into his menu instead, and I cannot offer him things, but I can buy things from him. So when I purchase the soul spear, it's gonna not just purchase it once, the soul spear is the sorcery, it's gonna purchase it 4 times because that's what I stored. So
awesome.
That is important because in this game, unlike in Demon Souls or in the further games in the series like DS2 or DS3, there's no mana bar in this game. So you have an absolute number of casts, right? So in order to have enough casts for some of the boss fights, I have to get more than just 1 stack of soul spears. So this way I'll be able to get enough. So I'm gonna store the confirmation box, open the purchase menu. It shows up. I purchase, and I only purchased 1 soul spear. I also purchased the homing soul mass. But you're gonna be able to see that I have 4 soul spears now instead of just 1.
Oh, nice. Okay, right.
So now we'll be leveling up, and again the cursor is going to be on screen, and that is because I can actually use both the mouse and the controller at the same time to level up. So if I hold right on the controller, it goes like this. As you can see, not the fastest thing. If I hold both controller and the left mouse button, it goes quite a bit quicker.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna be leveling up a bunch of pretty important stats here, and I'll explain. So first,
Just a little bit, though.
yeah, just a little bit, just level 238, no big deal. So 33 vitality is just for some extra health. That can be a good safety net for some of the places. Attunement, that allows me to attune all the spells that we have gotten, so that means I can use them. 52 endurance is important for the air roll glitch. I'll explain that later. 53 strength is important for having extra damage on Artorias, which will allow me to two-shot him. So there's like a little bit of a damage threshold, breakpoint basically. 45 dexterity is important because dexterity up till 45 increases casting speed, which again is very important for Calamite and for Kings. And then of course intelligence, I have to offset for my lack of it IRL, so I get 99 to compensate. But also it increases sorcery damage, so that's pretty important.
Right, you want to just do as much as you can now that you have the spell cast, or the...
Yep.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned earlier, right now that we conducted all our business here, the next goal is to head over to Stradimon, who's in the Northern Undead Asylum again, so we're going to be returning home, essentially. The reason for that is I want to go to the Painted World as soon as possible in order to perform one of the upcoming glitches and obtain the Red Tear Stone Ring that way. So in order to be able to enter Painted World, I have to kill Stray Demon because I need to pick up the item there in the Asylum, which is the Peculiar Doll.
So do you actually ever use humanity in this game? Like in the run?
Technically, it would be faster if I want to heal from like low HP to full now. It's faster to use one humanity instead of drinking Estus twice or more.
Okay.
So technically you could. Optimally, you probably wouldn't at all.
Right.
All right, so for Stray Demon here, I'm actually going to be using the sorceries that we just attuned because he's quite a tank. My Dragon Tooth isn't upgraded yet, so it doesn't deal as much damage. And it is slightly faster to just use sorceries because they don't actually deplete stamina when you cast, so you can just keep on spamming. So, Homing Soul Mass, that's the little orbs on top of my character that like activate automatically on enemies. It's not the most reliable spell in the world, but it gets the job done in this fight. I'm getting really good RNG here with him just spamming AoE, so I can spam my Soul Spear. This is literally the perfect fight, actually. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
I'm sorry that was so hard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could pull that off a Strider problem as well.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay. Oh, ask him about all achievements, humanity.
Yeah, that is actually... in all achievements, humanities are important. So there I got the Peculiar Doll and then warped away from the Black Knight. And because he was a little bit higher than I am, because I go downstairs, his running attack actually whiffs me. That's the precision that I was talking about. Since when you're using the Homeward Bone, you like duck, so I'm able to duck his attack, which is kind of cool. I should have used the Dark Sign there, but instead of the bone, but it doesn't matter. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so humanities in this game, up until 10, they increase your item discovery. So all achievements, which I'm running right now actively on my channel, twitch.tv/CatalystZ, a little plug.
Oh, we'll go over that at the end as well. Don't worry.
Since they increase item discovery, there are items that I need to drop from enemies in order to collect certain achievements. That have a random drop chance. So if I can maximize my item discovery, I'm maximizing my odds of getting the drops. But essentially, the run is just completely reliant on those random drops. So it's just an RNG grind where essentially what I'm doing is I'm trying to get to these farming sections as much as possible, and then hoping that Miyazaki, the developer of the game, the father of Dark Souls, smiles on me and actually gives me the drops. So yeah. I had a run yesterday where basically I was all the way at the end of the run, and then at the end of the run I had a 33% chance of getting a drop, and it didn't drop, and it killed the entire
Mm-hmm.
run. So that's the thing.
That's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see the ways, because this run is definitely filled with like enemy movement RNG. It's interesting to see the ways that like you kind of combat that and try to manipulate it the way that you want them to be. Like a lot of the reloads to like de-aggro or reset their position, you know, things like that. And like trying to make sure you hit the right cycles. But I can only imagine that all achievements is horrible with RNG. And like
Yeah.
you're saying, there's not a lot you can do.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I call it pure RNG essentially because it has no
Yeah.
counterplay. While if you get a bad boss power, I mean, of course, once your time is optimized enough, it will also lead to resets, simply because the bosses didn't give you good enough RNG throughout the run.
Right.
But you at least have some counterplay. You can like opt to play it a little bit riskier, go for a risky attack or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if a weapon doesn't drop, there's nothing you can do. So
Yeah. Knife stuck in your back.
yep. No biggie. We got the extra vitality, and then also leveling up, having soul levels gives you extra passive resistances. So some of these attacks that would normally deal quite a bit of damage don't deal as much right now. But for most boss fights, worry not, it's not gonna be your breeze. For most boss fights, I'll be utilizing the red tearstone ring, which forces me to be under 20% health. So any one hit from a boss is gonna kill me. So
Oh wow, okay. Is this a normal area in game? I don't remember this.
yeah, so this is the painted world. This is actually, funnily enough, the prototype level that they made. Is the first level that they made, and Miyazaki liked it so much that he wanted to put it into the game regardless. That's why it stands out, right? Because like the snow and everything doesn't really fit the rest of the world, so they decided to
Yeah.
hide it within a painting. It's pretty cool.
Oh, okay. But this isn't like DLC. This is
No, this is base game.
just is it like somewhere you can explore to go find a boss?
Yep. And also the item that I just picked up. So that's the red sign soapstone, which is normally a PvP item. Now, yes, earlier in the run, I was actually online, so we could have done some comfy player versus player, but that's not what I pick it up for, actually.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Look at you jumping up that. Also, you did something with a dragon tooth where it looks like you hit the wall. Was that similar to the punch
Yeah,
and
that
roll
was the
thing you did
same.
earlier?
That was the same glitch that we did in
Okay.
Blighttown, the full
Okay.
damage cancel.
I see.
And because this is a prototype level, the collision is not really like sorted out. So you saw me being able to just skip basically this entire area. Normally you're supposed to like obtain a key and be able to open doors in order to access the end of this area.
Okay.
But just jumping on the side of the bridge there allows you to skip that completely. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
you're like, no. Oh, so pretty.
So this is Priscilla. She's not normally aggressive. You can just leave right now, but because this is all bosses, we will have to fight her. As soon as you damage her, she goes invisible and invincible for a bit. So what I'll do is I'm going to shoot an arrow, and the projectile doesn't actually go invisible. So if I don't get lucky, I'm also going to lock on. And if she basically teleports to some place within my camera view, I'll stay locked on and I'll be able to see her. But if that doesn't happen, then I can just use the arrow to actually see her.
That's super clever.
So as you can see, not only is the arrow visible, but I also got to see her through the lock-on. I'll again be using the
Nice.
sorceries here because it's a little bit better than the dragon tooth.
Oh, that's a little tail. So, okay.
So yeah,
Bye.
that's that indeed. And then you just exit the painted world. Funnily enough, if you remember, the last bonfire that I rested at was Firelink Shrine, right? I warped from Firelink Shrine into the Darkmoon Tomb bonfire. But exiting Painted World, always puts your last bonfire to the Anolonda bonfire. So normally in a run, and that's regardless whether you took it earlier or not. So in a run,
Interesting.
I would have skipped it. We took it for safety when I entered Anolondo. But this way, when I return to my last bonfire, it's gonna take me to the Anolonda one, even though it's not my last one. So this is really good because you want to use this bonfire eventually later in the run, a little bit later in the run to warp here to go to Seath.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So kind of getting that ready for later.
Yeah, exactly. So here I'm gonna go to Parish. I'm gonna equip my items because if you fall in this game, the more equip load that you have, the more stuff that you have equipped, the more fall damage you're gonna take. So I'm gonna be abusing that because I want to get to low enough threshold. And yeah, there's gonna be a bunch more glitchy stuff. So if that's what you're into, there's quite a bit of explaining to do here again. So one more time, I'll be utilizing the quantity storage glitch. So instead of offering arrows to Framt, I can also just try to drop them, and that's also going to store the quantity, right? So now I have the quantity of 998 stored.
So why does dropping them store them?
It stores it because the game has to like determine the quantity, and it just keeps it in the memory. It's just the way the game is programmed, essentially.
Okay. Cool.
I don't even have
just
to
wanted
drop
to clarify.
them. Yeah, I don't even have to drop them. I can just look at the prompt. And the variable for like the upper limit of the quantity, right? Because the lower limit of the quantity is 1. The upper limit of the quantity is 998 here because I have 998 arrows. So
gotcha. Okay, cool.
Now this is stored. Again, I'm going to store the confirmation box as well, this time with a soul. So that means when I stop moving, as I open up Andre's menu, it's going to pop up the confirmation box and I'll be able to just press yes. And so two things are going to happen. I'm going to purchase an item. So when you remember on Logan, I used it for soul spears, but soul spears are an item that can be stacked. So it purchased 4 of them. Here, I'm going to be buying a pike, and a pike cannot be stacked. It's just a weapon. You cannot stack weapons in this game. However, the game still will use that stored quantity on the item, and the item will be just 1 pike, but it's going to have an inherent quantity of 998.
So is it basically like forcing it to level up?
Not really, no. Because the quantity in weapons is not actually used for anything. Except for the weight calculation. And this is important because in Demon Souls, items such as upgrade materials or arrows had a weight, right? So you could actually, like, that was a big mechanic of Demon Souls, was how many items can you store in your inventory because you only have a limited capacity in that game. In this game, there's no weight for arrows, but for example, if we look at the Dragon Tooth, you can see the rightmost stat says 18.
Right.
That's the weight of the weapon. It shows it at the bottom, right there. But
so are you still?
But for arrows, there's no way there.
Okay. Are you still under your like roll speed, like at the fastest roll speed with all this stuff?
Yeah. Right now, yes, because we leveled up the extra endurance to be able to fast roll.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't mention is that there are different tiers of rolling in this game. If I equip the Dragon Tooth right now, you can see that I'm mid-rolling, but I'll get to that later because it's actually going to be quite important at some point.
Okay. Awesome.
So I'm going to purchase the pike, and it's just going to be 1 pike, but the quantity of it is going to be 998 in the game's code. You're not going to be able to see it, but it is in the game's code.
Okay.
And the quantity is calculated just like it is in Demon Souls, right? And because in Demon Souls, stackable items also had a weight, like the arrows, the weight is calculated by the weight of 1 item times quantity. So that means, because I will be having a pike with a very high quantity, it's going to be a very heavy pike. And this is important. So first, let me get the very heavy pike, and then we're going to continue on. So again, store the quantity, store a confirmation box, get into the menu.
Okay, sorry.
And now I'm going to purchase the pike with the Soul of Smoke prompt at the bottom. It's also going to use the soul, which is good, because this pike is going to take all of my souls because I purchased the pike basically 998 times. But using the soul will give me 12,000 souls to be able to buy some items. So boom, it gets popped. I'm going to buy the weaponsmith box here. That allows me to level up my weapons at bonfires instead of having to go to merchants. I'm going to buy the Tower Kite shield. It's a better shield, and it allows me... it's important for a glitch later on as well. And then, again, I'm left with only 9,000 souls, and I need to get this Crest of Artorias, which opens up the next door in the forest. So, just like at the Undead Merchant, cursor on screen, prom swap. Prom swap, hello?
You missed the mouse, everyone?
Hold on. from swap. There you go. And I can purchase this even though I cannot actually afford it.
Awesome.
So now I have a pike that is very heavy. Okay, I'm gonna move the cursor away so you guys in the chat are not angry. And I can show this because right now, you know, I'm moving just fine, no problem. I equipped the pike. I am not moving very fast. I cannot roll
not at all.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm insanely overburdened.
So can you not even roll at this point? Like it's so slow?
No, it's so heavy that you cannot even roll.
Oh my gosh.
This is the roll. Like I'm trying to roll here and my character's like, not possible.
That's amazing.
Yeah, very heavy pike. Again, because weight is the only thing that actually uses this calculation with quantity, that means it doesn't have any extra damage or anything. So it might be like, the next question on your mind should be, why are you getting this super heavy pike, right? Like, what is the point? Well, yeah. This is where it gets even more complicated. And we have this, we have Demon Souls to thank yet again, because like I mentioned, in Demon Souls, working around the weight limit of your character, of the inventory weight limit, is a core mechanic of the game. And there is let me actually move away from Andre, because his smithing is kind of distracting.
Right.
So there's a ring in Demon Souls, the Ring of Herculean Strength, which allows you to carry more items. It basically extends your weight limit, right? And then, let me actually quit out because he's going to be casting spells, which is also quite distracting.
Right.
So when you, let's say your weight limit is 40, weight capacity is 40. You equip the ring and it gets up to 65. If you carry too many items and it puts you between the 40 to 65 range and you try to unequip the ring, it's going to tell you, you can't do that. You're overburdened. That's in Demon Souls.
From Demon Souls, okay.
Yes, and because this game, you know, takes a lot of code from Demon Souls, actually, funnily enough, all of the From Software games besides Dark Souls 2, the modern ones, are on the same engine. It's just heavily modified. So Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro are all on the same engine. Elden Ring will be as well, most likely.
Okay.
It's an in-house made engine that FromSoft developed for themselves. So yeah, there's a lot of similarities and a lot of things taken over between Demon Souls and Dark Souls. This game, you probably don't know it, but it has an inventory capacity as well. They kept it in. I think they probably wanted to use it and then decided to scrap it. So what they did, instead of completely removing it, they just put it to 10,000 weight units, which is a lot. As you can see, Dragon Tooth, super heavy item, it weighs just 18. So casually, you're not supposed to get to 10,000, like ever.
Right.
So once you get to that limit, you cannot really pick up anything anymore. However, because we have this super heavy pike that weighs 998 times 10, we are at that limit right now. So if I try to pick something up, it wouldn't pick it up. It will just stay on the ground.
Okay.
Okay, this is kind of complicated, but I'm trying to do my best here. Okay, I'll do like a quick summary afterwards. So we have
that would be great.
Yeah.
So I can also try to explain it back, or you know, whatever you think is
of course. So
fun for you.
This is why I have the ring, because right now I'm at the capacity level. I'm overburdened. I'm cramped, as we call it. And the game, for some reason, I don't know, we don't know why, right? This is unknown to us. But the ring here is basically gonna activate, or I should say it's gonna act like the ring of the Herculean strength from Demon Souls. So if I try to unequip it, it's gonna try to tell me, oh, you cannot do that because you will be overburdened. But because there's no ring of Herculean strength in this game, the prompt is gonna be glitched. So when I try to unequip this ring, it's gonna give me a glitch dialogue. Right? It's like dialogue. Even the game doesn't know what's happening. It's so confused it shows 2 question marks. And it's not even Spanish because one of them's not turned around. So it's like, yeah, the game has no idea what it's doing.
Do you know how this was found? Like how this was figured out?
I probably think so. This goes out to a community member who, well, I never actually got the chance to talk to. I've never seen him around. But this was found in 2018 by a person named Flex. So we call this, well, it's equipment slot manipulation, or flexing for short. And my theory is it probably had a little bit of whiskey or a little bit of wine or something and just somehow randomly figured this out, right? Like, I have no idea how he figured this out. There's just, I don't know. But essentially, we knew about quantity storage leading to the possibility of being crammed, but we had no idea what could be possible with this glitched menu. So having this glitch dialog doesn't do much on its own, but if I confirm it, it opens up an omega glitched menu, right? So it's
okay.
all over the place
God.
right now. And this can be abused. And this is the sole reason that I'm doing this for. This entire procedure, I'm doing it to be able to get into this glitched menu. And
Okay, so what's in here?
right, so first, I'm actually going to close it because this is a different glitch menu that I don't need. So when I open up a consumable menu here, the game remembers that this is the last menu that I opened. Like when I go to this glitch dialog again, you can see that the menu looks pretty normal now, right? Even though I went through it. So if I, for example, opened up armor though, and then I went through it again, it's gonna open up the armor equipment tab. So this is important. I have to store the consumable menu here.
Okay.
And then, and this is, I don't know why, but when you are stuck in an action, you cannot open up these menus. Like I cannot actually switch around my armor, for example, if I'm stuck in an action, right?
Okay.
But the game will still remember that I tried to open it for some reason. Like you can see this is a pattern with this game that it's remembering like everything you do. It stores things into memory and it allows us to break it and it's wonderful.
Right.
So,
I mean, well, a lot of times it tries to still do it sequentially, right? Like you were saying earlier.
yes, not in this case, but something happens in the game's code. We don't know what exactly, but I get stuck in the Rapier R2. So first, I'm going to store the equipment menu. So that's gonna open when I get the glitched menu when I try to unequip the ring. Then I'm going to get stuck inside of an action. It's gonna be a Rapier R2, which is this attack. Then, as that is happening, I'm going to try and open up the head slot. It's not gonna let me. It's gonna do a sound. You're gonna be able to tell that I tried to open it. But the game's gonna remember that. And for some reason, the head slot corresponds to the right ring slot. It's connected. Don't ask me why or like what the reason is. We don't know.
Okay.
But it just works like that. So if I basically want to queue up like, for example, an armor slot here or a projectile slot, I would open one of these weapon slots or try to open it anyway. So R2, try to open it. You heard the do sound. Let me do it again.
Yes.
You can hear it. You heard it twice there. So that's the sound. I tried to open it. Now I'm gonna try to unequip the ring and it's gonna get me into the consumable menu. But what's happening now? It's omega glitched. And there's the red sign soapstone, but this is not the red sign soapstone. This is a completely different item. How so? Like what's happening right now? So this is why I picked up the red sign soapstone in the painted world, the PvP item, leaf invasion sign.
Oh, okay. So what do we do with it?
So now that I'm able to get the glitched menu again, by trying to unequip this, I can equip the red sign soapstone.
That looks like a ring.
And because I tried to open the head slot, it's gonna get equipped into the ring slot. So what I'm doing is I'm equipping a consumable into a ring slot. That's not supposed to happen, naturally. Rings go into rings, consumables go into consumables. But this is Dark Souls, so rules like that don't matter. The game only checks for the ID number of the item. It doesn't check for whether it's the correct type. So when I equip the red sign soapstone into my ring slot, the game checks, what's the ID number of this item? It's 118. Oh, okay, 118. It looks into the table of items. It knows it's the ring slot. It knows it's the ring slot. So it actually looks in the ring table and it gives the red sign soapstone the properties of the red tearstone ring. So this way, I'm able to equip the red sign soapstone into my ring slot and it's acting like the red tearstone ring.
You basically just are giving yourself a free ring.
Yes, but not exactly. I'm giving
Okay.
myself the effect of the ring. If I unequip it,
Okay.
I don't actually have the ring. See?
Right.
I only have the consumable.
Okay, so that's what you mean by just the effect, because you don't own it, you don't like have it physically, you're just getting the benefits from it.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I know this explanation just took a while because this is like one of the most complex things that's happening in this run.
Right.
So I will give a quick summary, okay? What we want to do is we want to we want to equip the red sand soapstone into our ring slot. In order to do that, we need to glitch this menu. In order to glitch the menu, we need to reach the inventory capacity limit, which is extremely high. In order to do that, we purchase a very heavy pike through the quantity storage glitch, which we've already showcased in the run. We do that by storing an inherent quantity and then taking that prompt or taking that quantity into Andrea's menu. When we purchase the pike, the game thinks, oh, this is one pike, but the quantity of it is 998, so it's very heavy. Thanks to being very heavy, we can glitch out this menu, we can equip the red sign soapstone into our ring slot, and it's gonna act as red tearstone ring. This way, we can have the properties of the red tearstone ring without ever physically picking it up. So it's much faster than going into the garden here and picking it up, or into the Valley of Drakes and picking it up. The reason we want the red tearstone ring is because when I'm under 20% HP, it's basically gonna double or even triple my damage in some scenarios.
Right. Yes, you mentioned that earlier. All right, everyone. So he did it. He explained it again. Do you get it this time?
Hopefully it makes sense, okay? Hopefully it makes sense. So this ring, yeah, it's very important. What it does, it basically increases attack rating by 50%. But because of how damage calculations are performed in this game, it results in double or triple damage, depending on how armor of enemies is being calculated for particular attacks. So yeah, it's very strong. Obviously, not only is that necessary sometimes in order for me to not run out of spells, the extra damage, but it's going to speed up the fights immensely and also make me less reliant on RNG, because less attacks that I have to do means less attacks that I have to wait out from the bosses. So, yeah.
Yes, that makes sense. Awesome. All right. Also, I know we haven't quite hit the DLC yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take a bonfire here, and we can absolutely go and take a little stretch break.
Yeah.
We'll go to the toilet as well, so give me just 30 seconds here, and we can take one.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, take your time. Just wanted to say, you know, I feel like we still have a lot to go in the game, a lot to see and learn about. And hopefully nobody's brain just exploded from all of that. Just in case, it'll be good to have a little bit of time to like walk it off, mull it over.
Yeah. So here I open up this door, I quit out, not just to skip the animation of opening the door, but also to de-aggro the enemies, so that I can rest at this bonfire. Of course, when there are enemies nearby, you cannot actually rest at a bonfire. One thing important to note here is essentially our goal right now was to perform this glitch. So I had to go to Andre, because I already went to Andre. I also want to clear out this area. Now, this bonfire is not warpable. Even though I have the Lord Vessel, some of the bonfires in this game you cannot warp to. So that means I don't want to lose this bonfire, and as such, I will try to do as many things as possible, or as many things that I have to do here without losing this bonfire. So that's going to be killing Hydra, killing Moonlight Butterfly, killing Sif, and then entering the DLC. These 4 things are up next, but first we are going to take a short break, indeed. I think we all need it.
Yep.
And then when we come back, that's the agenda. So
yes. Yeah, before we go to a break, just wanted to let you all know we did have a question about if this is going to be on the YouTube channel. Yes, it is. You can head to youtube.com/gamesdonequick if you would like to see any of the GDQ hotfix shows, archive of past runs and shows. All of that is over there. So if you are watching on YouTube, you can join us over here at twitch.tv/gamesdonequick to check out the live shows. Starting most nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. I will say that we're just including a lot more content, like more shows have been added to the hotfix roster. They're all awesome. I'm also excited that we have 2 shows a month for this show as well. I'm saying the word show a lot. And then let me see. So if you want to learn more about all of the new ones that have just been added, you can go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix, because this is in the hotfix schedule. And then we have, if you just want to check out like highlights of the shows, you can go to the GDQ Sum of Best Segments, which is also on YouTube. It's just a highlight channel with regular videos like the main channel, but it's little highlight reels. So you can check it out. There will be a highlight of this. Yeah, just wanted to kind of let you all know about that stuff. I know that, again, we had a question about it. So we're going to take a quick break, just like Kata said. And yeah, feel free to get up, make tea, drink water, stretch, all of that. It's always good to do. It happens a lot here on Hotfix. And we'll be back in just a few. All right, everyone, we are back with more That's Never Happened Before. I hope you are all ready for this next half of this Dark Souls explanation run. Again, it's all bosses, joined by the one and only Catalyst, and who's doing an amazing job, in my opinion. It's been really, really cool to learn about all of the glitches so far. Hello, welcome back, Kata.
Thank you. Hello, hello.
You have a nice break.
Yeah, it was good. A little bit refreshing. Moving around is not too bad.
Well, hopefully you all have had enough time to digest the last heavily explained glitch that we got to see, which was really cool, and are ready for more. I'm ready when you are, so feel free to count down.
All right, we can resume the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so if you're just joining us, as mentioned, my name is Catalyst. I'll do a couple of quick plugs. You can find me at twitch.tv/CatalystZ. That's where I stream my runs. You can also check out my YouTube. I make pretty decent videos, I would say, about these glitches and whatnot, and other speedrunning stories. A lot of people have told me recently that they're pretty good, so youtube.com/CatalystZ. Might want to check that out.
That's awesome, and we'll say it again at the end too.
Yep. So right now, the goal is to go and kill Hydra. Hydra needs to be killed in order to access the DLC. It's not a boss in itself, but the DLC has 4 bosses. Since this is all bosses, that's what we will do. Here, I equipped the Dragon Tooth mid-air, so I take a little bit more damage from the fall, and as such, activate the RTSR threshold. So you can see in the top left, there's the little gem, and also my character is shining. So right now, the RTSR is active. That's how you can tell. It is important to note that if I ever unequip the ring by accident or something, I would have to go and repeat the entire procedure again to get the red sign soapstone to equip in the red in the ring slot. So what I'll do here is I'll do another little fall damage cancel. If you missed it earlier, it's just a way to essentially prevent fall damage from occurring to my character, and then I will be using soul spears to get rid of Hydra. In the fight, I will also drop the pike and pick it back up. That makes it unglitched. So we have the very heavy pike still, and if I drop it and pick it up, it's gonna be just a regular pike. That is important because I want to be able to unequip my rings, and I also will be using the pike for something later on. So if it was heavy, that wouldn't be cool. So yeah, just plunge
Falling at
there.
a specific angle and then making sure to roll right at the end to negate that fall damage.
That's correct. Right, there should be 3 soul spears. There's 1. There's 2. I'm going to drop the pike, pick it up. And there's 3, and Hydra should be dead. So yeah, we pack a punch now. Like, the RTSR gives a lot of extra damage, and soul spears are pretty good. And we also have, obviously, 99 intelligence, so that helps. Even though there's actually soft and a hard cap in this game, I think it's like 40-something is the soft cap, and 52 is the hard cap. As in, the scaling kind of falls off. But yeah, 99 still helps out quite a bit. So here, I'm gonna reload the area, which makes this golden golem spawn after I kill Hydra. And then we kill him. I kill him with the Dragon Tooth because the spells are not very good against him. And we free Dusk. So this is how you enter the DLC. Now, for some reason, you know, FromSoft thought it was a good idea to release a DLC, made you pay for it, and then not even allow you to find it because it's so well hidden. It is quite a complicated way to get into DLC, but yeah.
Do they like give you any guidance when you first get it?
Not really, no. I mean, I assume they might have like leaked it to some gaming websites or something of the sort. When they were releasing the DLC, but I feel like a lot of people without the use of internet would not be able to actually discover this. So here, important stuff. I'm coming back for a detour to summon Dusk. Dusk is not like a regular summon, but you can summon her here, and then you can buy stuff from her, and this is important, so that's what I will do. I'm gonna get rid of these golems, and more shenanigans coming up, but fortunately I've already explained a bunch of it, but there's a new use for it again. There's like a little bit of a different application. So you saw me, I again stored the high quantity, and I'm gonna use the same thing I used on the pike, but I'm gonna use it on the catalyst that I can purchase from Dusk, which is a spell tool.
And your name.
That as well, yeah. Coincidentally. And that threw me off guard. That was good.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So the reason I want this heavy catalyst, or the catalyst with the inherent quantity of 998, isn't to be crammed. It isn't to perform any kind of glitch while I'm overweight, but it is because of another calculation that the game is making. Okay? So let me first do that, and then I will explain. So again, I'm gonna store the confirmation box. I'm gonna open Dusk's purchase menu. Then I stop moving, which makes the confirmation box pop up. I confirm on the catalyst. It's also gonna use the soul at the same time, because once again, the game still will subtract 998 times 1,000 souls from me. So I'll go from 7,000 down to 0. Then it pops the soul. So I'm back. It doesn't actually show it, but I can purchase items now. I will buy Hidden Body, which is a sorcery that essentially, whatever, I'll mention that later, but it is a sorcery. And now I have a catalyst in my inventory that is really heavy again. It's not like as heavy as the pike, because it only weighs 0.5 weight units. So it's 0.5 times 998. But this is important because when you purchase an item, the game has to determine how many of that item it can offer you to purchase, right? So imagine that I'm buying black fire bombs. The max stack of black fire bombs is 99. And let's say I already have 20 in my inventory. So the game has to determine what the max number that it can sell me is. So what it does is it just takes the max stack number, 99, and subtracts the amount that I have, which would be 20. And it's going to offer me 79, right? As long as I have the souls for it, of course. Now, weapons, for example, are not stackable. However, the game still performs the same calculation because it basically has to determine whether to even give you a quantity prompt in the first place. So, because the stack of a weapon is always supposed to be 1, the game takes 1 as the base number, and then it's going to subtract the amount that you already have. And you're only ever supposed to have 1, technically, right? Even if you have like multiple catalysts of the same type, it's still 1 per stack. So it's going to do 1 subtract 1. So 1 minus 1, which gives you 0. And it says, oh, 0 is the calculation there. So I shouldn't give you a quantity prompt. But I have a catalyst of an inherent quantity of 998 because of the quantity storage glitch. So the game calculates 1 minus 998. Okay?
Okay.
And you don't actually ever get to see that on the screen. But when I try to purchase it, I don't even have to confirm it. This is the calculation that just happened in the game. And the game, because it remembers everything, as I mentioned, it remembers this calculation. So the quantity of 1 minus 998, which is minus 997, negative 997, that's what is stored in the memory right now. Okay?
Right.
So now I have a negative quantity stored. That's the first part of the glitch. Very important. Second part of the glitch is utilizing prompt swap to open 2 menus at the same time. So prompt swap is the glitch, just to reiterate, that we used to purchase items that we are not able to afford yet. It is also the glitch that we used to do the initial dupe on Fram. And it is also a glitch that you can use to open 2 menus at the same time. So in the top right, you can see that next to the LB and RB, there are also the small 2 arrows. And I can click them with my mouse cursor. And at the same time, I can also try to open a different menu. But a similar glitch also works with the brightness menu. So if I try to open the brightness menu, immediately after that, if I press R1, which also swaps these category tabs on the top right, the menu tabs, it's gonna basically open two menus at the same time, like so. Okay.
Oh, I
So
see.
now you
Okay.
see the brightness menu on top, and you see
Yes.
the inventory menu in the background, right? I can navigate
Yes.
it. I'm just navigating inventory there. If I'm swapping around, if I were to swap around, you could probably see it a little bit better, but let's not do that right now to not complicate things. So right now I have two menus open at the same time. The reason this is important is because I can overlap two prompts at the same time. So I navigate to the dragon scale, which I got from the Hydra. Dragon scale is an upgrade material to upgrade the dragon tooth. They are pretty scarce, so it is kind of hard to come by these materials. Killing Hydra gives you one.
These.
So the goal here is to dupe it. As you can see with the double menu, which also you can see at the bottom of the prompts that are overlaying, I'm able to open up the menu on the background and navigate into the drop prompt. So you cannot really see it well, but if you look at the top left under brightness, things are changing there, right? There's the two text essentially, things are changing. And you cannot see it too well, but right now I have selected the drop item prompt. Now the goal is to get two prompts to open at the same time to manipulate that negative quantity into that drop prompt. So what I'll do is I'll press right, which gets me to initialize. Initialize just means resetting the brightness settings to default. Now when I press OK, when I confirm, when I press not OK, when I press the A button on my controller, it's gonna open both the initialize prompt and the drop prompt. Okay, two prompts at the same time. That's glitchy, very glitchy. So what happens is it gives me this drop item, but because of the stored quantity, I can select -997 in that quantity. So this is a different way to manipulate a quantity into a prompt. Before, we used the quantity storage glitch. Here, this is basically quantity storage, but it's applied differently through prompt swap. So now I'm going to drop...
What does it do with the negative?
Yes, I am dropping a negative amount of an item. So I'm gonna get a surplus instead. So when I confirm, if you look at the dragon scale, if you look at the icon, it says 1. I confirm 99, just like that. So I just duped the upgrade materials in my inventory without the use of RAM. I could have used RAM, I could have used the bottomless box glitch as well, but this is a much faster way of doing it. It allows me to do it right here from my inventory, and it's great. So it's fantastic.
And it's great.
It is absolutely fantastic. So essentially when you're dropping an item, the game has to calculate how many items to, subtract from your inventory and how many to put on the ground. So it's trying to put a negative amount on the ground. And as you can see, there actually is an item here, which is kind of strange, but this is just an invalid item because it's an item with a negative quantity that dropped. So if I try to pick it up, doesn't do anything. It's an invalid item, doesn't matter. So this way I'm able to dupe the scales, which is really, really cool. So from here, I'm gonna bomb back to the bonfire and I'm gonna head over to Sif. The reason for that is because I don't want to be resting an extra time, and I also only have 10,000 souls, so killing Sif will give me some more souls. This ring that I have here, as you can see, now that I dropped the pike, I can just unequip my rings, no problem.
Okay.
The reason I want to do that is because I want to use this Dusk Crown ring sometimes. As you can see, it gives you extra sorcery castings, but halves HP. The extra sorcery castings are not really important, but halving my HP is important because it allows me to get into RTSR ranges more effectively.
Right, to activate the benefit of the other ring.
Yes, exactly. Because I want to be, again, to reiterate, under 20% health for it to activate.
Right.
As you can see, I have quite a bit of health, so I can use this ring to get less health. And now when I take damage, it's going to put me under that 20% threshold.
This reminds me of the Danger Mario strat in Paper Mario, if you've ever played that or seen a speedrun.
No, actually, I must say. Nice. I
That's
got
okay.
missed
Instead
there.
of rings, they do badges, and there's a very similar strat where you can get to a really low health, and it gives you a huge buff. I mean, it's similar in a lot of games, like Final Fantasy has that, and other
I
things.
see.
But...
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Okay, so now I'm gonna be heading over to Sif. I'm gonna unequip the ring again to take some extra fall damage, because fall damage is actually based on max percentage health. So for
Oh,
example, if I take a fall, it's gonna deal like 10% of my max health. So
okay.
that means if I have the ring equipped, my max health is halved, which means the absolute value that is dealt to me is gonna be lower, right? So I'm gonna be actually abusing this a couple of times throughout the run, where essentially I can
want it to
get
take
to an
more
absolute value
damage.
that wouldn't be under 20% when I have the ring equipped. But then when I unequip it, that absolute value is under 20%.
Yes.
So here I'm gonna take another little bit of fall damage, and that's gonna activate the ring.
Oh, very cool.
So now we're heading over to Sif. Like I said, this is all bosses, so we need to clear up the entire forest. I'm gonna cast Homing Soul Mask because I have time for it. I'm gonna have to wait for these doors to open anyway. And we're gonna enter the fight. I'm gonna do it with magic. Again, one hit means death, so I'll try to be not getting hit in most of the boss fights.
Right. Oh, yeah, this is the wolf, right?
Yep.
Oh, it's so pretty.
All right, that was a pretty decent fight. Got some hops around, but no big deal.
Right.
Now I'm gonna head over to Moonlight Butterfly, which is the other boss here in Darkroot Garden. Again, it's an optional boss. Sif is mandatory. The Butterfly is just optional, but obviously we have to kill it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it as well. It's got really nice music. Very pretty.
On the way to Butterfly, I'm gonna also pick up this Elite Knight set. It's gonna be important for later. Again, I'll explain it, but it is gonna be for a glitch. You also saw me re-equip my shield because I'll be using this shield from here on out. It has 100% physical damage reduction, so it's a better shield than the one we had before.
Oh, wow.
And now on this fog wall, I'm also gonna drop the heavy catalyst. I'm gonna drop the shield, and I'm also gonna drop the Jake sword because I don't need those items anymore, and I don't want them to clutter my inventory.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Butterfly, I'm gonna just use the sorceries again, and it's dead.
Yeah, because this is an earlier optional boss as well.
I don't know if it's like it's not like super earlier. It depends on when you decide to do this area, because a lot of this stuff, once you get the Lord Vessel and you place it, and the golden fog is dissipate, you sort of have quite a bit of freedom of what order to tackle the bosses in. But like I said, we have pretty strong sorceries, and 99 intelligence gives us a lot of extra damage.
Yes, that's very true.
So now I'm gonna go ahead and reinforce my weapon. This is why I bought the weapon smith box, so I could just do it here with the Jupe Dragon Scales. Dragon Tooth +5. Very strong. You'll get to see it. Then I'm going to attune the Hidden Body, which I purchased from Dusk. This is a sorcery which essentially hides your body if it works properly. What it does is it basically decreases the aggro range of enemies, allows you to kind of run through them a little bit more safely.
Kind of invisibility.
Yeah. It's gonna be useful for especially the DLC, but I'll be using it here as well.
Okay.
So, like I said, the goal is to basically do everything that we can in the garden. In order to do that, we need to enter the DLC. In order to enter the DLC, we need to kill an enemy here. And as such, I will also go ahead and proceed to kill Seath, which is the boss in this area. So right now we are just heading over to Duke's Archives. There's gonna be a bunch of stuff to explain here as well.
I'm sure.
Which is quite exciting. I do like this area quite a bit.
I can hear the excitement in your voice, though. It's great.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my best. I mean, I woke up about 3 hours ago at 3 in the morning, but I think we're doing kind of all right. I think the coffee has helped.
I honestly think it's the run, like getting to explain something that you know so much about and getting to nerd out about it as much as you want. I think can make a huge difference. I've just noticed a lot of people who just you can tell they're jazzed up. It's great.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I also, decided to like make the videos that I make on my channel, because not only do I get excited about explaining these things to people who are interested in the game, but speedrunning has so many different stories to tell, and it's like there's just gotta be some people who actually tell those stories, and I
Yeah.
decided to be one of those for Dark Souls. So I
That's
killed
awesome.
this blue. Thank you. That's it's pretty cool. So I killed that blue golem. He dropped the broken pendant. That's the item that allows me to enter the DLC. And here I'm gonna do a glitch called elevator upward. So essentially, I'm gonna get on this elevator and I'm gonna quit out. Now, what happens is, as I mentioned earlier, if you're paying attention, okay, continuity, we're tying up the stories, tying up the loose ends. In
Right,
Analondo, I said that the elevator doesn't get to the top position until it docks.
Oh,
Here,
yeah. And you
the
reset
elevator
it to the
does.
bottom.
Yes, this one does. So when I quit out now, it's gonna be on top. The elevator is unstable ground, so that means my position doesn't get stored on it. So when I reload the game, I'm gonna stand right in front of the elevator, essentially, where we were at the place where we are entering it from. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get my position stored as close to it as possible, and you're gonna see why. What ends up happening is gonna be quite cool. So you load in, right? I'm still down here. The elevator is on the top. And then I walk off like this, trying to get my position stored as close to the elevator as possible. And if done correctly, boop, I am on top along with the elevator, which is faster than just taking the elevator itself. So why does this happen? Very simply, when you reload the game, the elevator is actually in its default position, which is at the bottom, and gets immediately put to the top. And if I store my position close enough, the elevator essentially takes me with it to the top as well. There's another use for this. If I store my position a little bit differently, it allows me to get on top of the elevator out of bounds. But I do not have fall control that would allow me to survive the next fall. So as such, what we have to do is this skip instead. So that is pretty cool. A lot of people don't know about this upwarp because it isn't that big of a deal. And right off the bat, I'm gonna do another skip. This skip is basically just parkour based. It's just collision based. But it's actually one of the biggest skips in the run because it allows me to bypass the entire first encounter with Seath. Normally, what's supposed to happen, right? You take this elevator up. You're supposed to go through this hallway. You encounter Seath. Seath is invincible, and you die, and you get taken to prison. And then from the prison, you have to get a key. You have to open up doors, and then you can proceed. Takes a long time. Your speedrunners don't want to do that. So instead, I'm going to abuse the fact that this elevator has a railing and I can drop on it. And then from the railing, I'll try to do my best to basically get to the next section of Duke's Archives, which are only supposed to be accessible after the prison section is done. So hopefully we'll get it first try. It's a pretty cool parkour glitch, or I should say parkour skip. Roll at the correct time, and boom, right? And I land right here where I'm not actually... Oh, there's an arrow. Let's hide. I'm not supposed to be here just yet, but thanks to some cool collision, this is exactly what happens. Out of the way. Normally I would do a running attack, but to get him out of the way faster, but doesn't matter, of course. So yeah, Duke Skip has been known for a very long time. It's one of the most used glitches, or sorry, I keep on saying glitches, but one of the most used skips in any category that has to go to Seath, essentially. It's a little bit tricky. Definitely takes some time to master, but once you get it down, it's not the most difficult thing in the world.
Okay.
So right now we are just heading over to Crystal Caves. As you see, I equipped the ring again, the Dusk Crown Ring. This is in order to be able to get enough fall damage from the drops. If I just didn't keep the ring on, if I just kept having it off, it wouldn't actually be enough fall damage. I'm gonna take a little bit of damage here from the slope as well. And I'm just navigating around. I'm gonna do a little bit of a drop here on some out of bounds collision, technically. It's a little bit faster than running around.
Oh, wow.
And as you can see right now, I'm pretty low on health, but the RTSR still isn't activated just yet. It might get activated with this next drop. Okay, it did. So I took a lot of damage, and it activates even in the Dusk Crown Ring. But of course, if it didn't, I would have just unequipped it, and that would have put me at a very low health right now out of my max health bar, and as such, it would have activated anyway. So here, for the clams, I'm going to cast Hidden Body so I can just run through them. Funnily enough, you can actually get the clams to appear in the boss fight as well, because normally the fog gate spawns right around here, right around this area. So if you enter the fight and the clams are too close to you, they're gonna appear in the fight with you. So that's not cool.
Oh, that sounds hard.
What happens here is Seath is still invincible because he has this crystal. He spent dedicated his entire life to creating this crystal of immortality, right? It's his magnum opus. Mm-hmm. And we show up hollow with an arrow that cost us 3 souls. We shoot it, we break it. His entire life's work is done, and then we do 2 running attacks to the core, and he's dead. So
that's so sad.
Yeah. Point is, if you make a crystal like that, you want to hide it a little bit better. That's kind of the point of the story. Funnily enough, with the core, you deal extra damage when you attack it, but you saw that I attacked him diagonally instead of head-on, and there's a good reason for that, because the Dragon Tooth is so massive, it's such a big weapon, that it can actually attack straight through him and hit his tail, and as such, you're not gonna get the bonus damage from attacking the core. So that's why I attack sideways to make sure that that doesn't happen.
So the hitbox from your weapon would accidentally go too far and hit the tail.
That's exactly right, yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so now we're gonna head over to the DLC. That means heading over back to the part of the lake where we freed Dusk. Not where we summoned her, but where we freed her initially. And the DLC is pretty cool. I think you mentioned before that you haven't done it yet. I definitely can recommend it. Since
I know, I'm excited to see.
Yeah, it's the DLC itself when it comes to the areas are not that great, but the bosses are awesome. It's got like some of the best boss fights in the game, so.
Cool. Did you say like mechanics wise, visually, both?
Yeah, both basically.
Nice.
All right, gonna do the full damage cancel again to avoid fall damage.
Oh, somebody wants to know if you can get a tail cut with the Dragon's Tooth by hitting through the...
No.
Okay.
It's because the tail needs to be damaged at like the very tip of it, essentially. And it doesn't actually extend as far, unfortunately. Would be a pretty cool thing to do, yeah. Mm-hmm. You can get similar tail cuts on like Gargoyles, for example. That's also a boss that you can cut the tail on. And because the Dragon Tooth is so big, it can pierce kind of through and get a tail cut there.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so here, this is the big reason why I summoned Dusk. Not just to dupe the scales and get Hidden Body, that could like be avoided. But because if you summon her, this item spawns here at the DLC entrance. So this is the DLC entrance, this is the set. And the set has the Crown of Dusk in it, and the Crown of Dusk is a helm that boosts my sorcery damage by 20%.
Oh,
20% doesn't sound like much, technically, right? Considering we have RTSR, which like doubles or triples damage. But it is actually huge for some cycles, and it does save a lot of time. So even though the detour to Dusk loses about a minute, we make it back through other stuff that we will talk about.
Okay.
So I'm not going to take this first bonfire in order to keep RTSR range, and the first boss here is Sanctuary Guardian. I'm going to go to the left side here, because essentially forcing myself between him and the wall, I'm going to limit his moveset, hopefully. And he's not going to be able to do some flying attacks, which are kind of annoying because I cannot attack him while it's happening.
Mm-hmm. So you need to take a little bit of damage for that ring to take effect?
This is where unequipping the DCR comes into play, right? This is not under 20% of my 50% health. But if I unequip it, it is under 20%.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
Right. Super cool. But it works out just fine.
Very helpful. Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see what patterns we get. There's some ranged attacks that can happen. Not looking like we're going to be getting that one. All right, just a combo. Well, this is more Dragon Tooth plus 5 in action. A lot of damage.
Wow.
So one thing that I do here is I equip a bunch of stuff. It will be very clear why in just about a minute. But first, I'm going to run through here. I'm debating whether to take this bonfire, but I won't. I mean, worst case scenario, I can load a save file or something, so it's not a problem.
For sure.
So now I'm gonna navigate through the DLC. The DLC, especially this next area, has a bunch of enemies scattered around, bunch of farmers. So again, I'm gonna use the hidden body to be able to just run through it.
How long does that last?
The spell itself lasts 30 seconds, which is just long enough to navigate through here, no problem. And I'm gonna actually head over to the Royal Wood shortcut. So normally the shortcut is only supposed to be activated once you like run all the way around this entire area. And then you are able to send the elevator upwards and you can take the shortcut, right? But, and this is, I'm gonna take my time here because there are a couple of ways to get down here. And this, like, just one little skip, it saves about 30 seconds and you could probably make like a history video just about this one skip. So there are four ways to get down through here and avoid fall damage, right? Because the problem is that there's an elevator right down there. So doing a regular fall control quit out, which I cannot do in this run because I don't have the spell, but essentially fall control just straight up delays fall damage from occurring when you hit the ground and gives you enough time to just quit out. So the position would be stored at the bottom, you quit out before the damage is done to you, and you spawn at the bottom. But because there's an elevator there, it's not going to store your position because it's unstable ground. So the initial skip found by Distortion back in like 2016, I think, utilized one of the enemies, one of the big guys here, that guy there. You would aggro him, you would get into a corner with the fall control spell active, you would wait for him to come here and fall off as he's trying to attack you, and then you would drop onto him as you're falling. I'm not gonna try to show it because it's been so long since I've done it, but essentially he lands on the elevator and then you bounce off of his corpse and you land on the stable ground next to the elevator. So
wow, that's amazing.
That was the first way to do it. Then the fall damage cancels were discovered, and it became clear that you could just do a fall damage cancel to get to the bottom. So that way you would do it this way. Let me actually show it off. So you could get to the top of the stairs like this, and then you can walk off and you can plunge the edge of the elevator, which will count as a slope surface. And that's going to allow you to do a fall damage cancel. So I walk off, plunge like this. Well, I had a mid-roll, so I died. That's fine. We will run back. But you plunge like this, and then if your roll lined up with the ground, you would have been able to get the survival there, right? You would avoid the fall damage. So let me actually load a save file so I don't have to run all the way back.
Right. Sounds good.
So that would be the second way. This was discovered December 2017. Then there's a third way, which is kind of similar. Let me see. What is the closest one that I have? Okay, I have one right there, actually, at the bottom of the elevator. So that is pretty cool. I can try to do the full damage cancel again. So we are right here. Imagine that I survived. Okay, no problem. I don't make mistakes. It's all good. Okay. So let me send it to the bottom. And let me try to do it again. So I'm going to unequip the items that I have. And I just want to show you how it looks. Now it should work out just fine, I guess. They walk off, plunge. As you can see, now my fall is much quicker. And as such, I'm able to survive that fall. Okay, cool. So that would be the second way of surviving. Then the third way of surviving was essentially using a weapon that you do not have the stats for yet. And then bouncing off of a wall. So when you have a weapon that you cannot regularly attack with, you're gonna get like a very slow animation. And if you bounce off of a wall, it's gonna give you like a really slow bounce. And if I did it at the very edge here at the elevator, I would basically bounce off of the wall and at the same time start falling off. And funnily enough, that would also allow me to roll midair and survive the fall damage in a very similar way, which was a little bit faster than having to go to the top of the stairs. So that would be a third way of surviving this glitch, this shortcut. Now the fourth way is the fastest. I think it's the coolest. But when it comes to the explanation, it's also the most...
complex?
Yes, exactly. So, right now...
That's what makes it cool.
I'm mid-rolling.
Okay.
If I unequip anything, I'm not mid-rolling anymore. This is important. So basically, in this game, when I look at the weight load of my character, equip load, the third one, from the top, essentially, there are these different tiers of rolls, right? The fast roll, the mid roll, and also the heavy roll. If I equip too much stuff, I'm going to be heavy rolling. Now, what people don't know usually is there are also sub rolls within the fast roll tier and the medium roll tier. This is because what the developers have tried to do is they have tried to increase the recovery frames of every roll, so your rolls are technically slower with the more equip load that you have. So the more stuff that you have equipped, smoothly, the slower your rolls should be. But because there's only a limited amount of frames, that results in 4 sub-tiers for the fast roll, so 4 different recovery animations or recovery speeds, and 3 for the medium roll, okay? Now, there is a way to get to the medium roll where the game thinks that you are actually 0% into the medium roll. So that means you get past the threshold, percentage-wise, past the fast roll, which is up to 25. So if I'm under 25% weight load, not 25 in absolute units, but 25%.
Okay.
I'm gonna start mid-rolling. So right now, I'm mid-rolling. If I unequip, I am under 25%, I'm fast rolling. However, there's a way to get into a threshold where the game thinks that I'm like mid-rolling, I have to mid-roll, but I'm 0% into it. So that means I'm actually under the first sub-roll tier, if that makes sense, right? So I'm in, if you imagine, you have the fast roll, you have the medium roll. The medium roll is split into 3 parts. I'm already in the medium roll, but I'm technically under the first sub-tier. Hope that makes sense. The way this is done is getting between 25 and 25.000088% equip load, which is never supposed to be possible because the smallest increment that you can change your equip load by is 0.5, right? Like if I look at, for example, this short bow that I have equipped, it has 0.5. So
right.
It should not be possible to change the percentages by such a small margin. However, because of how computing with floating point numbers is done, ordinary values, and this is not just with Dark Souls, this is with many other applications, ordinary numbers like 1.2 or 1.3, for example, are not exactly 1.2. They're not exactly 1.3. They're a little bit less or a little bit more. So depending on the endurance I have, this is why I leveled up 52. Exactly. I mean, I want extra endurance to be able to wield the Dragon Tooth and still be fast rolling, but why I leveled up exactly 52, so I have 92 equip load. I will equip these particular items. So there is the Thief Mask, the Black Leather Armor, and the Elite Knight Gauntlets, which I picked up on the way to Butterfly, along with the shield, the bow, the rapier, and the pike, which is not heavy, right? Because I dropped it on the ground and picked it up, so it's not the glitched pike. This puts me exactly in that threshold between 25 and 25.000088%, thanks to the floating point errors. And because of that, because I'm under the first sub-roll in the medium tier, the game fails to check whether I'm mid-air or not when I'm rolling. So that means I'm able to do this. And just roll to the bottom straight up like that.
You just keep rolling.
Yes, exactly. You just keep on rolling without taking fall damage, right? Because obviously if the last roll is lined up properly with the fall damage, it's gonna iframe it. It's gonna use the invincibility frames of the roll. So This is super cool. It's the latest way to get rid of fall damage in this game. It was discovered with the release of the remaster, funnily enough, because the remaster is 60 FPS. This game is 30. 60 FPS means that there's more sub-tiers technically, because there's more frames to fill up. And as such, it is much more lenient to get under the first sub-roll tier and the medium roll.
Okay.
So it was discovered just by accident, right? Because you basically just have to be within the fastest sub-roll of the medium roll. So you have between 25 to 29%. So that's a huge margin, right? Compared to 25 to 25.000088.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it was discovered with the release of the remaster, and then so it was used in that game basically since the half of 2018, and then by the end of 2018, so that is actually by the end of all the way 2019, December 2019, that's when we figured it out for Prepare to Die Edition as well.
Okay. So I just have a quick question on my end with the remastered version, since it's just a remaster and it's not like a remake. Like what percentage of strats and things are able to be carried over?
Oh, this is a really good question. I have a video about that on my YouTube channel if you're interested in further details. Yeah, youtube.com/catalystd, of course. But the main thing is that the action queuing was sort of fixed. So you can still action queue, but whenever you open a menu, it's going to clear the action queue. So the move swap glitch that we've been using throughout the entire run, to have this, really good running attack with the heavy hitting weapons, that's completely absent from the remaster. And as such, the gameplay is very, very different.
Okay.
So most of the runs use the Black Knight Halberd, as that is a very quick weapon to obtain. It's very easily upgradable. It's very strong damage-wise. It has a good moveset. All bosses and all achievements, which are the 2 runs that I've done, they use sorceries as the primary damage source. So yeah, that is the biggest difference. Then also the game loads in a little bit differently. So some of the skips do not work. I think everything that we've done so far sort of works in the remaster, actually.
Okay.
But there's gonna be like a skip later on that, for example, in the remaster doesn't work.
Gotcha. Okay. I wasn't sure what would actually carry over or not, because remakes are usually very different, but a remaster, you're gonna often have things that are similar enough.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of stuff like the prom swap, for example, that we've been abusing that works as well. So there are different ways to, you can also dupe it from thanks to the prom swap, even though regular quantity storage doesn't work. Yeah, the game is still broken. Like, I will say this, Prepare to Die Edition is a more complex speedrun, which I think makes it more fun in the long run. But Remastered is still a very good speedrun. Like, if PTD didn't exist, Remastered Dark Souls 1 would be still a very, very good speed game.
For sure.
So, because I loaded a save file, it's after I already did menuing here, but essentially I would talk to this NPC, and I would purchase the Green Blossoms. Green Blossoms speed up the stamina regeneration. So after I do like a bunch of actions, like I attack like this, you can see that it's recovering, and thanks to the Blossom, it's gonna recover faster, actually.
Right.
Which is gonna be useful for the DLC fights here. So I'm gonna move up, and I'm gonna fight the second boss of the DLC, which is Artorias. This guy can be a little bit random, so hopefully he doesn't troll us.
You have the headgear on to help with your spells, but you're using the Dragon's Tooth.
Yeah, the reason for that is because I'm gonna be using spells in just a bit, so it's just like some menuing I did in advance, essentially.
Okay, so it doesn't really affect
oh, that's
your...
one. I'm dead.
Oh, oh, sorry.
No, it's no problem. It's all good. I'll just load that save file back up so we don't have to run all the way.
Right. But the headgear is not going to affect your stats in this current fight, at least. It's just...
That's correct, yeah.
For the future. Okay. Just double checking.
The reason I died there is I wasn't actually sprinting for long enough. So normally a running attack is supposed to happen when you're sprinting. Like as soon as you're sprinting, you press R1, you get a running attack. Actually, it's not exactly when you start sprinting. You need to be sprinting for a couple of frames. And yeah, that didn't happen there. So I pressed R1 too early. I got a regular attack instead, and I died. Gotcha. You don't want to do that.
Right, yeah.
All right, let's try this again, but better. So I unequipped the stuff. I unequipped the armor and everything, because if I kept it on, I would be mid-rolling. I don't want to be mid-rolling for fights, right? So that's why.
Right, yeah, you need to be faster for these, for sure.
It's gonna buff now, so it's just one more running attack. Again, I deal a lot of damage. In most cases, the fight is gonna be pretty smooth, but sometimes Dark Souls can be Dark Souls, and you get a little bit of a tricky pattern. And as such, get into scenarios where you have to like actively start, dodging attacks and stuff like that. So here, I'm gonna go to the Dark Moon Tomb bonfire, which we took earlier. The reason I do that now is because it's a convenient time to go and kill Gwendolyn. I haven't gone to kill him earlier, simply because I didn't have the damage to one-cycle him, but I do have this damage now.
Okay.
Additionally, I equipped this item, which will be clear why that is the case in just a little bit, but know that it is another online item that I cannot use, and it gives me this animation. So that will be that'll be important.
Oh, the animation will be important.
Yeah, the chest shake will be important, actually.
Okay.
So let's enter Gwendolyn's fight. You also saw that I equipped the Dust Crowning again. That is because with a specific attack, I can set up RTSR here. And I also want to have it equipped for later, so it makes menuing a little bit easier. So I'm going to just run into this attack on purpose, which is going to give me RTSR. And now I basically have to wait out his attacks while I'm approaching between these pillars. I get the arrow attack here, which is great, because that means I can approach him very easily. And with RTSR, it's literally just one running attack, and he's dead.
Oh my gosh.
So again, if you think this is crazy damage, well, it is, but you have to understand that we have the Dragon Tooth +5, which is insanely strong. And on top of that, I have RTSR active, which is also strong. And we move swap the Dragon Tooth, so we deal damage in 2 ticks. All right, coming up next is Calamite, and this is going to be pretty cool. I think you guys are going to enjoy this if you haven't seen it. So normally the way you're supposed to fight Calamite is with a little bit of a side quest. First, there's a dragon basically in the next area. And when you enter the area, what ends up happening is he's just flying around above the area and you get burned to a crisp, right? And that's not cool. So you cannot really fight him while he's midair. Like you can try with arrows and stuff, but you're not going to deal much damage. And it's very hard to sort of block any of his attacks or anything because it's a mix of magic and physical, and it's not great. So what you're supposed to do, actually, is you are supposed to navigate further into the DLC, and you're supposed to get a key that's down in the township, that's hidden in a mimic. Then thanks to that key, you're supposed to go up this tower and talk to an NPC. This NPC is a legendary archer, which comes in handy. And even though he's blind, he's able to shoot Calamite. He's a giant stuck in that tower with like a very small doorway navigating to it. So I have no idea how he got there, but you can actually hear him in the distance carving some statues.
Oh yeah, I can hear it. Mm-hmm.
So you talk to him and he's gonna shoot Calamite down for you. He's gonna shoot him with an arrow. It's a very cool cutscene. And that way you can actually go and do the fight because Calamite's going to be on the ground. However, this is not how that's going to go in this run.
Okay.
And the reason for that is we have a way to kill Calamite without golf. Now, there was a way basically very shortly after the DLC's release where people figured out how to do it. But the way it was done was with a bow and arrows with very little damage. And it took just about an hour to actually kill Calamite without golf. So for speedrunning, that's not cool. You don't want a fight to take an hour, right? That ain't cool. But then there was an individual, and this is, I'm gonna plug my YouTube again. I know I've done this like 3 times now, but the latest video that I have talks about this story, and it's a fascinating story of how basically an outsider that wasn't greatly involved with the community, has never done any runs or anything, just likes to watch the speedruns, basically came in and showed us a strategy that he came up with sorceries. And he literally said that, I found this, it's probably not going to be very useful, but you guys know a little bit more. And indeed, it's turned out to be very useful. So we found a way how to do golf pretty quick. We found a way to do Calamite without golf pretty quickly with sorceries. Mm-hmm. However, you still needed like the strong magic shield, which is a buff for your shield, so you could block his attacks, and it still had some requisites, so it wasn't usable in all routes. It was only usable in some specific routes. For example, this one couldn't really use it.
So,
So 2 months ago, pretty much exactly to the T, one of the glitch hunters in the community discovered a different method of doing it, one that abuses a blind spot in the arena where Calamit's attacks don't actually reach you, but you can reach him. And you're gonna see that very shortly. And it's really, really cool. So first I'm gonna take a little bit of fall damage here. I'm gonna cast it in body to navigate around these dogs. The reason to take the fall damage is so that when I enter the arena, excuse me, dog, I get put into RTSR, which is important for this upcoming fight. And this is also why having the Dust Crown is so important, because it will allow me to do Calamite in just 2 cycles instead of 3.
gotcha. That 20%.
That's right. So I will enter the fight and I will do some pretty precise pathing. Essentially, I want to be, at the time when Calamite decides what attack to do, I want to be far enough so he does a favorable attack, which does have the blind spot. If I go too close to the blind spot first, he will do an attack that's going to be able to hit me there. So that's why I take this little bit of a detour. And then I run off to the specific place where he's not able to reach me. And I lock on. And 1 soul spear, 2 soul spears, 3 soul spears, 4 soul spears. And then I run away from the blind spot again to be able to bait the correct attack. I'm going to wait for him to come back. And this is where this comes into play. So I'm going to shrug 8 times. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I know he's just about coming back, so I can return to the blind spot. He does the right attack, and I can do the second cycle here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now Calamite's health bar is depleted. He finishes his animation, and boom, he's dead. Right there. So I never actually have to go and visit Golf. Super, super cool. You can see he's dead because I get the Calamity Ring, and I get the 60,000 souls. All right, let's
Amazing.
do,
I love how the non-usable item is your timer.
yeah, it's great. Shrugging device, shrugging machine, as I call it, helps out quite a bit here, indeed.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, funnily enough, on Remaster, this is much trickier because you cannot just lock on and keep on casting spells. Remaster lock-on is absolute trash. So when I lock on in Remaster, the Soul Spears are gonna go like, Calamite is here, and the Soul Spears go like, shoo, and start flying God knows where. So you have to actually manually aim all of them. So it's quite a bit more difficult in Remaster, yeah. So here I'm gonna head over to Township to get to the final boss of the DLC. I'm gonna abuse arrows here again to get down the shortcut. Very cool. So this is where normally you would head over to this part all the way to the top there, essentially. That's where you would get the crest key to get to Golf. So it would be quite a big detour from here, besides just going to Golf to get Calamite to get shot down and be on the ground. Again, I'm gonna cast. Sorry, I'm just gonna cast it in body and run through here. What were you gonna say?
Oh, no. I was just following up, like agreeing with you.
I see. Alright, so hidden body helps out quite a bit there, because these enemies deal quite a bit of damage, so you don't really want to deal with them. And again, more arrows to get past this elevator instead of waiting for it. Funnily enough, one cool thing as well, there's an enemy on that elevator, but his default position is actually not here on the elevator because that's unstable ground. His default position is by the spell that I'm going to be picking up kind of soon. So if I did a quit out now, it would spawn him back there and there would be an extra enemy to take care of. But because I can just leave him on the elevator there, he's not actually going to be bothering me in a little bit. So that's a cool little trivia, I guess.
That's awesome.
All right, so now I unequip these items because I don't need them anymore. Again, although I'm supposed to have the pike here, and this gets unequipped instead. There we go. So I'm gonna cast it in body again. Like I said, the DLC itself for the bosses, great. For the areas, not so much. They're pretty wide, pretty big, and there's just like a bunch of enemies all over the place. And as such, the hidden body really helps out here. So the Soul Spear actually can pierce the first target. So I'm gonna try to line up these two enemies and cast, and boom, I hit both of them.
Oh,
That's
wow.
pretty cool. And now we pick up the good stuff. So if you thought Soul Spear was powerful, well, Darby is gonna leave you speechless, I think.
Okay.
It does a lot of damage. A lot of damage. Gonna cast Hidden Body again, because as you can see, there's a bunch more enemies on the bottom here. I'm gonna do a cool little move swap here. I'm gonna basically jump here to not have to go around, and during the jump, I'm gonna move swap. That's pretty neat. And right here, I'm gonna do a little skip. So that skip not only will allow me to get RTSR set up, but normally you're supposed to get down here and enter the next boss fight through that fog gate. Because the boss fight is triggered by a cutscene, when I fall into the arena, I'm not actually gonna take any fall damage. So what I can do instead is do a little jump here and end up out of bounds. As you can see, the fog gate is right there. And I'm gonna be able to just completely skip that fog gate and get into the fight from here. So that's pretty cool. I could actually technically jump to the other side of the fog gate as well, but right now I would probably die because I would take too much fall damage.
Right. Yeah, because you're really low.
It can actually, that being said, if you mess up on this jump, it can be used as a backup to take some fall damage and actually activate RTSR for the fight if you manage to do it correctly.
Oh, if you have too much health.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
So when entering this boss fight, there's two things. First, I will try to roll, hopefully not get a stalled roll, which basically means that I would not be able to cancel the fall. I'm gonna apply the Green Blossom to have more stamina regeneration. And essentially, Manus is probably my favorite fight of the entire run. It has a lot of different patterns that you can react to differently, strafe different things, roll things differently. It's very cool. And once you get him past 60% health, he's gonna start casting magic. There's 3 different spells he can do. 2 of them are gonna be good. 1 of them is gonna be pretty bad. So hopefully I'll get the good one. I'll try to do some positional manipulation for him to do the good spells. And yeah, I mean, a lot of explanation. With good RNG, the fight should be done a lot quicker. But I just wanted you guys to know what can happen and what's gonna happen. So we first jump in, survive, got the roll, apply the Blossom, roll his opening attack, and then not manage to roll the next one and die. Okay.
All intentional.
I will blame waking up at 3 in the morning, okay? I will blame that. So this is quite a long run back again, so I'm just gonna load a save file to save a little bit of time, because this is not like a legit run. So of course, in a normal run, you would run back, you wouldn't load save files. But let's do that again. So imagine that nothing happened. Okay, just like with the elevator, everything's fine. No one died. So I'm gonna do this cool little skip here for the first time. All right, we jump into the fight. We survive the fall. We get a roll. Never mind, we got a store roll this time. That's fine. We try to roll his attacks instead. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna try to position myself in the front. He's gonna do the bad attack here, but that's fine because I got another attack there. I have to run away from the rain to not get hit by it. And then it's just half a move swap and he's dead.
And done.
So
wow.
that was a lot better than the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now this is DLC done. 4 bosses out of 4 killed in the DLC. This is good stuff. So basically, now the goal for the rest of this run is to clean up what is left outside of the DLC. And the good stuff is that we got the Darkbeat spell, right? We picked up the Darkbeat spell, which is a DLC item, and we're gonna be using it outside of the DLC. So yeah, it is very strong along with the item build that we are rocking. Awesome. So I'm gonna warp to Daughter of Chaos, which is the bonfire we took, after killing Quelaag. I said that we wanted it when we came to clean the rest of the bosses here. I'm gonna go ahead and attune Darkbeat. And I'm gonna do one of the most visually impressive skips of the entire run.
Okay.
And that's the Far Side Elevator clip. This is one of those skips that doesn't work on the remaster because it's actually based on loading. So you see this elevator, it's not actually activated just yet because it's a shortcut. So it's supposed to activate later.
Okay.
But the elevator itself is not part of the Quelaag's domain area, which is where we are currently. It's part of the Demon Ruins, which is the next area, which you access through here.
Right.
And because of how the game loads, and this will also be important for later, but I will reiterate, the game will first load the area that you're in, and only then it will load the areas that are around. So the elevator is going to load in a little bit later. Now, every time you quit out and you stand up, the stand-up animation, besides the destructive properties that we had seen in the run previously, it also moves you backwards slightly. And there's also this like tiny slope here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position myself to the edge of the elevator, as close to it as possible, but to not be standing on it fully, right? So my position is still stored here because it doesn't get stored on the elevator. And I'm going to do 3 quit outs most likely. And what's going to end up happening is quite cool. So brace yourselves.
Okay. So it's just the reloads from
the
being in the
reloads
right
are
position.
moving me a little bit backwards. I clipped through. I need one more because I didn't clip through far enough. And now you might be asking, well, how are you going to survive this fall damage? Well, just watch. I mean, hopefully I do, but falling, and boom. And we just plunge attack this boss and survive him that way, which is super cool.
By landing on the
Now-
boss?
Yeah, we landed on a boss, which allowed us to survive. And there's a couple of things already happening, right? So first of all, you're not supposed to plunge attack this boss ever, because casually it's not supposed to be possible in this area, in this arena. Second, you might be wondering why he's not protecting himself. That's because the boss AI trigger is actually by the fog gate. And since we never enter through the fog gate, his AI never loads. So he's just chilling.
Does he never attack you?
Yeah, so we can basically, if I had the time, I could just like punch him with my catalyst to death. But I've been going for quite a while, so let's not do that, okay?
Okay.
The reason I
amazing.
can plunge attack him, however, is amazing because this is just a reskin of the very first boss that we killed in the game, the Asylum Demon with the black fire bombs. And what you're supposed to do in Asylum normally is you're supposed to basically go to the top if you don't kill him on the first encounter. You drop down and you plunge attack him. And because this is a reskin, he has the same plunge attack properties. And on top of that, the boss is directly under the big hole of the elevator shaft. So we can land on him and prevent fall damage from occurring to us. So many things come together in order to work, and it's just magnificent. It's amazing. Thank you, Miyazaki, for this fantastic skip.
Yes, super cool though.
So I'm just going to use the sorceries to kill him here. 2 dark beats and a soul spear.
Okay.
Now, again, you saw me ring swap when I was on top of the boss. That is to be able to take some more fall damage, set up RTSR for the next boss, which is Centipede Demon. With Dark Beat, you're going to see some very solid damage there. And that's going to be kind of the course for the rest of the run here, because as soon as you get Dark Beat and you have RTSR and we have the crown and we have a lot of intelligence, yeah, the damage just kind of stacks up. Because Dark Beat is basically a projectile spell. It splits into different projectiles, so you're only supposed to like be able to use it at close range, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Boss just gets deleted.
Amazing.
So, as it splits into projectiles, right? If the boss is further away, you're not supposed to like hit all of them, and that's supposed to offset the high damage the spell has. But I mean, yeah, you can aim the spell correctly and get the projectiles to hit. Also, speaking of, because it's still early morning, and I don't want this insane lava to blind me, I might as well do this, which I did 2 years ago at a GDQ, and I'm just gonna put on shades. So a little bit of protective gear, guys, goes a long way. They actually did dim the lava, the bloom in the remaster a little bit.
Yes.
But I must say that I probably prefer this lava instead, and there's 2 reasons for that. First of all, the lava in remaster doesn't look like lava. It looks like bologna sauce that I put on my spaghetti. Second, because the game is 60 FPS, the sound effect of the lava actually plays twice as fast. So it makes you, instead of losing your eyesight, you lose the ability to hear. So, yeah.
Oh.
It's like an offset.
Weird.
All right.
Sunglasses percent. We have the best estimates on the show. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that this is, you asked about the humanities earlier. This is where
Yes.
I actually pop it to heal to full. The reason I do that is for the next boss, because if I get a little bit unlucky, I could get a bad attack there, and if I'm full health, I'll survive it. If I had the health that I had before, I would not, so.
But you don't want the ring to be activated right now?
Yeah, because the next boss is a gimmick boss, essentially, and you don't really need any damage for it.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, it's the Bed of Chaos boss fight, which is pretty awful. Unfortunately, I have some strategy there that I am known for messing up on World Record paced runs. Probably messed it up on more World Record paced runs than anyone else. So I'm notoriously known for that, but it's not a hard strategy. That's the point. Like, it's actually pretty easy.
Yeah. No, I believe, no, you'll get it today. You'll be fine.
Hopefully. I mean, hey, I already had Safe Files save me before, so Safe Files can save me again.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to equip the fire bombs. I'm gonna put the fire bombs here. I'm gonna also put the group blossom there. Can I get hit here? Probably can, actually. I wonder if it's gonna hit me. No, okay. Just a little bit of testing live in action. Anyway, so the way that you fight this boss is essentially, in order to access the actual boss you're supposed to kill, there's two different orbs that you need to destroy on the left and right. And it's basically like a platforming boss where the ground is crumbling, you're being attacked, and you're supposed to break those orbs on each side.
Right.
I've done this without the map being visible, and it took me almost 4 hours. So it is quite painful, even casually.
Wow.
Even when the map is visible, if you're doing it for the first time, because every time you die, you have to run back. It's really bad.
Yes.
But what I'm going to do is I'm gonna basically go to the middle of the arena, and I'm gonna use these black fire bombs in order to destroy those orbs from the middle, so I don't have to run to them, and I can just be ready basically at the boss in the middle. And as soon as the orbs are broken, the barrier dissipates, and I'm gonna be able to kill Bed of Chaos. So
wow.
hopefully I hit them. I will be using the bow for that, which is pretty convenient because it allows me to not just precisely aim, but it also allows me to, you know, position myself forwards into a certain direction that I want.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Sounds a lot easier and better.
I'll also pop a blossom because I'm going to be doing a lot of rolls through the branches here, and having the blossom allows me to do more rolls. So first firebomb, hopefully it hits. There we go. So now you can see the orb is breaking. And second firebomb, hopefully it hits. And the second orb is breaking. So
oh my gosh.
now we just break this stuff. And normally I would dark beat here to kill the branch and also kill the boss. But just to show you don't actually need to do that, you can literally just punch it to death like that.
It's super weak.
Yeah, it's a very silly boss fight. But what's funny is if you get to further New Game Plus cycles, the enemies get more health. And even this worm heal will get more health. And you're not going to be able to kill it in just one punch on higher New Game Plus cycles. So that's kind of funny.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Did it just say that you got the ring that you already have the benefits for, or no?
Sorry?
It looks like you got that red ring again. But like oh, maybe you didn't. Okay.
No. This orange shard ring that I have, that is what I dropped from Centipede.
Right.
Which allowed me to survive walking on lava. And then I just did a fast ring swap again to lower my health so I could take full damage here, and it puts me into RTSR for the next fight.
It must have just popped up at a weird time. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
This is another gimmick fight, essentially, right? Like,
I mean, it can be. There's a way to get this boss to fall down, right? Like, you can get him to chase you all the way to the fog gate. He tries to jump at you. He's hanging by the edge of the cliff. And then you can basically just punch him to break his poise, and he's gonna fall off. But that's pretty slow because you have to run all the way back. So you basically never do that in a speedrun.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I totally didn't do that.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you that the way I'm gonna kill it would be easier for you. You know, you come here, you press R1 once, you press R1 again, and that's it. So.
Okay, when you have this setup, yeah, of course.
Yeah, with the builds, works out pretty well.
Amazing.
Okay, so now what's left is basically to clean up stuff in around Firelink. So we go to Firelink, Gonna unequip the Blossom and also the Dark Sign, because not the Dark Sign, the Fire Bombs I need to unequip. The Dark Sign I still need to keep. I'm gonna sit here at Firelink because I want to come back. So we have technically 4 journeys to go on. First, I'm gonna head over to the Tomb of the Giants. So we need to get through Catacombs.
Right.
You have to kill Pinwheel and Nito.
Right. You have the kings, or is that?
That's
this
correct,
one?
yeah.
Yes.
And then the early Capra and Gaping bosses, which you normally fight quite a bit earlier.
Oh yeah,
And
Capra
we'll
Demon.
be
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
back for them. And then it's, you know, on our way to win.
Which I'm sure will be just so hard, so difficult.
It is, yeah. It is a difficult boss fight. So he's fast. You try to heal, he's immediately on your face, because he actually has AI that, like, as soon as it registers that you're, you know, drinking from an Estus, he does a very fast attack to punish you for it.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a very difficult boss fight for sure. He actually had to slow down some of his animations for Dark Souls 3, because he is part of Soul of Cinder as the final boss in DS3, and they slowed some of his animations down, funnily enough.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh. Yeah,
I pull
Capra
this
Demon's
lever,
just gonna melt.
and I quit out in order to skip that animation and to de-aggro some enemies. Again, I'm gonna equip the items correctly to be able to air roll down here.
Oh wow.
These bone wheels, not cool if they get stuck on you from behind, so
Yes.
it's nice that they didn't actually aggro this time, thanks to Hidden Body. Sometimes they might, but they didn't this time. So we jump into this fight. Pinwheel is pretty cool, so cool that I'm actually gonna do a 360 while I kill him. Oh, he survived actually, that's pretty funny. So now I'm just gonna R2 him with a catalyst and he's dead. So, one of my projectiles must have missed there. That's why he actually survived, which is kind of funny.
Gotcha.
Here I'm gonna do some just cool pathing. Obviously, Two of the Giants can be quite annoying if you did it the first time, since you cannot really see anything through the darkness.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna do a cool little skip that saves about 5 seconds here. It allows me to bypass this next fog gate. I drop on a little ledge down here. That's a little bit too early for the jump. I don't think that would have worked, so let me do that again.
Okay.
So obviously this didn't save any time. It lost time instead, but
this
yeah.
one, it's okay. We still want to see it.
Yeah, of course. So you just jump like this and you land down here. The difficult part about it is that you cannot see whatsoever where you're dropping, so.
Right, you're supposed to have the lantern.
Yep. Here, this is like a little boost jump that I did there, which essentially allows me to just skip going down a ladder there. Not a big deal. So I'm gonna actually try to show something. And as such, I will go ahead and heal up to full. It would be faster to use the humanity here, but I would navigate to the inventory and I'm lazy. So I just use the Estus instead. So for Nito actually has some of it. Oh, I don't have the Crown of Dusk equipped. That's why he survived, Pinwheel. I just realized.
Oh, okay.
But
That
at least we
makes
got to smack him with the catalyst to death, which was pretty cool. So I want to try to showcase something. I was talking earlier in Anolondo, okay? Again, tying up the loose ends. I was talking about how precise From Software is, or they were when they're developing this game, with the hitboxes of the character. And I'll try to showcase it here, but I will need some cooperation from this boss. So he has a bunch of compadres, bunch of amigos. So I'm gonna cast Hidden Body so they don't actually see me. They don't aggro as early. Hidden Body doesn't work on bosses, so it's not for Nito himself. Again, I ring swope to set up RTSR from the next fall. And I'm basically just gonna use sorceries to kill him. But I want him to do a scream attack. And there's a really cool way to dodge that scream attack, which is basically AoE that comes up from the ground. And I really hope we get that attack. If we don't, I'm not sure if I have a save file here. Hopefully I do. Because I really want to try to show you this. So first I'll cast the Hidden Body. I'll drop into the fight and hopefully we hear some screams. Okay, there it is. Okay, watch this.
Oh, nice.
Just straight up through me, no problem. Oh, it's another one, actually. Boom. Cannot hit me, brother. So normally this stuff is supposed to be rolled, but I can just two-hand my catalyst and block. Why? Well, because the AoE doesn't actually extend vertically. It's just a circle on the ground, the hitbox. And if you notice, when I two-hand and then block, look at my legs. Like, the feet spread out quite a bit.
Okay.
And the circle is not wide enough to hit those feet. So it goes directly just under my character, completely missing me. So I can just survive the attack and not get hit by it whatsoever.
That's really cool.
Even though visually it actually connects with the character. So that is super cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to head over to Four Kings. I'm again going to pop these rings to be able to set up our TSR with full damage. And there's going to be 2 more skips in the game left. And of course, 4 more fights technically. Come here, drop down, that's our TSR. Of course, I also have to equip the Covenant of Artorias. Otherwise, I would die in the Four Kings arena, which is something that we do not want. I saw a question if that works on the remastered. Yes, the blocking, of course it works on the remastered as well. It's like all the hitboxes and everything are literally identical, so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is one of the things that would then carry over.
That is exactly right. So,
awesome.
Here, I'm gonna do another way. I'm gonna perform another way of avoiding fall damage. As if there weren't enough in this game. First, I'm gonna quit out so we get the ghosts off of us. I don't think they should aggro here, so we should have all the time in the world to explain this. But essentially what you're... He did aggro. Okay, I'm gonna quit out. So, essentially, in this area in New Londo, there's a gimmick where it's flooded. And you're supposed to release the seal and basically release the water, and then you can access the Four Kings boss fight.
Okay.
I'm able to bypass that, and the way I do it is I abuse a glitch called a slope quit out. So essentially, when you hit a slope in this game, the game's #1 priority is to put you to the bottom of the slope, no matter what. That takes priority even over dealing fall damage to you. So what I can do is I can abuse that, and I can quit out as it's putting me to the bottom of the slope. And I can quit out before the fall damage is dealt to me, but while the position already, or the game already stores my position at the bottom. So that way, I'm able to survive falling down through basically a kill box here, and the fall damage that would be dealt to me. So I'm gonna get all the way to the edge here, which this is a slope at the edge there. It's not really visible. And I quit out as soon as I fall off, right? And it activated the death cam, as you could see, but it didn't deal the fall damage to me. So now, when I load back in, I'm gonna be at the bottom.
That's
here.
really cool.
See? That's where we drop from.
Do you know how this was found?
Oh, I have no idea, but this skip is actually... because this one is very old. So here, again, death cam is active, but there's no kill box there. So I can just quit out and solve this, no problem.
Oh wow,
This
so
skip
the
was
death cam
discovered all the way back in 2014, I think. So this one, definitely one of the older ones.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe this might have been discovered pretty easily because you can do this like very easily with fall control quit outs, which are much more lenient than a slope quit outs. But as I said, we do not actually have that spell in this run, so we have to do it this way. So yeah, we go for a quick swim. Funnily enough, the Hollow, or I should say the Chosen Undead, cannot climb anything in this game. Anything that's like 20 centimeters tall, you have to be jumping over it with some insane parkour. But shoulder height water, no problem, just running straight through it. So I'm just navigating through out of bounds right now to get to the Four Kings boss fight. And of course, as was the case with Manus, just casually even, here you're supposed to enter this boss fight by dropping down, right? So as long as I drop to the arena, I'm not gonna take any fall damage.
Oh, right, okay.
So this fight is gonna be a little bit special. So it's called Four Kings, but hopefully we don't get to see 4 of them. So essentially, I can do the entire fight in just 1 cycle. The first king always spawns at the same time, and so does the second and third and fourth. At exactly the same intervals. So waiting for the subsequent kings would be pretty slow, even if you kill the first king fast. However, in this game, you can actually damage enemies while they're dead, but normally that doesn't really do anything. It just like adds the damage number, but since they're already dead, it actually doesn't do anything. However, this boss fight is a little bit special because each king has an individual health bar, but they also all have a cumulative health bar. That's the boss fight health bar at the bottom. So when I'm attacking the individual king that is already dead, I'm going to be dealing damage to the cumulative health bar. So basically, I'm going to be attacking like the other kings. In order to set up this right, to get the correct damage, I unequip the Crown of Dusk so that the first Dark Beat deals damage to both the individual and the cumulative health bar. And it doesn't kill the king at the same time. It just puts him very low. Like the individual health bar is going to be very low. Then I'm going to equip the crown. And this is where having the Crown of Dusk is important and 45 dexterity is important. I'm going to be able to cast 3 Dark Beats. And if done correctly, it's going to be enough damage to do exactly what I'm just about to do, hopefully. Awesome. So let's watch this.
All right, here we go.
Enter the fight. King is going to spawn behind me. I'm going to run up to him, cast the first Dark Beat. Then I'm going to wait to see what attack I get, dodge it, and equip the Crown of Dusk. And then Dark Beat, and Dark Beat. And 4 kings are dead in just 1 instead of 4. Very cool. So again, I'm attacking the individual king, but because I'm dealing damage to him, he individually is dead, so that shouldn't be a problem. But because there's the cumulative health bar, that allows me to just get enough damage in before any of the other kings spawn.
That's wild. I was gonna say that's so fast, but that's been every boss fight, so I feel like it's not a new thing.
Yeah, this fight, essentially, the problem is that if you don't have enough damage, you know, you're gonna be dealing with 4 kings at the same time, and that's just like pretty rough. So casually, it can definitely be a rough boss fight, especially on the New Game Plus cycles. But clearly with this run, the lack of damage is not our problem, so.
My gosh.
All right, so for Capra, I'm gonna do a cool little skip here. There's like billion different ways to get to Loverberg. Normally you're supposed to like open up, get a key and open up doors, but I can just jump over that railing and get down here. There's like many different ways that you can get to Loverberg because of the verticality of the level. Okay, this fight, don't blink because Capra is gone. And I quit out at the end of the fight as well. So this is pretty cool because what the game does is I quit out as the victory achieved screen appears. So that means the boss is dead, but the game still considers its arena unstable ground, right? Because when you're in a fight and you quit out, it's gonna spawn you outside of the boss fight instead of inside of it. So here I kill the boss, but at the same time, it's gonna spawn me in front of the arena, which allows me to bypass the dogs that could otherwise block me. Like so.
Oh, wow.
So here I'm gonna do a skip. Very cool skip. I think you guys are gonna like this one as well, but there needs to be some explanation to be done.
All right, here we go.
So I talked about how I'm gonna quit out again to not get distracted by the enemy sounds, but I'm gonna basically abuse the fact that the game, again, as I mentioned before, it first loads the area that you are in, and then it loads all the other areas that are around it, right? A little bit later.
Right. Like the doors and gates and stuff that you were saying?
Not necessarily.
Oh, wait.
That was when I dropped through the elevator after the DLC, when I plunged on the boss. It loaded the elevator later because it was part of a different area. It was not because it's an elevator, it's because it was part of the different area.
I was thinking more of the Sen's Gate skip, but okay, gotcha.
So here, there's a transition between 2 areas. This is Undeadburg, and this is the depths. The area transition is right around here. You can imagine that, right? You cannot see it, but that's what the game will think. So if I quit out here, I think I'll be able to showcase this actually. If I quit out and respawn, you're gonna be able to see the area load a little bit later. See, there's nothing there. Boom, it pops in.
Oh,
So this is important because we can abuse this.
right.
Because the game determines what area to load first by which area you touched the last time. So that means if I go back to Berg, it's gonna load the Berg. If I go to depths, it's gonna load depth. It's gonna load depths. But it doesn't load it like depending on your position per se. It just remembers which last area you were in. So that means there are two variables: the last area I visited and my position. And if I can somehow offset those areas, desync them, it would be possible to technically click out of bounds. And that's exactly what I can do. And this explanation is like technically so it's technically so complex compared to what I'm gonna do that it's gonna be pretty funny. But essentially, when I'm moving, as long as I'm moving, the game has a 5-frame buffer of my last stored position. So as long as I'm moving around, right, I'm moving like this, and if I quit out, it's gonna spawn my character 5 frames in the past, essentially, as long as I'm moving.
Okay.
So what I can do is I can walk on the transition, and as long as I spend 4 frames or less in the depths area, my last stored position will still be in Underberg.
Will be Underberg.
While the last area that I touched was the depths. So that means the depths will load first while my last stored position is in Underberg. So what's gonna happen is exactly this. I just walk, I quit out, nothing complex, you just walk and quit out at the right time, and I will spawn in Berg, which loads later, and I'm out of bounds. Just like this.
Oh wow,
Very cool. So this way, I'm able to navigate through the depths instead of casually. I can do it in the out of bounds arena, or area rather. Not only does that allow me to nicely set up RTSR, but it allows me to get to Gaping Dragon quite a bit faster. So I was pointing out how you cannot climb anything, and you can see that there's the little railing underneath me. If I equip the bow and aim for it, well, I cannot actually aim as low, but there's the little railing that leads to this arena. You're not really supposed to get over it, right? Because you cannot climb, but there's also this railing over here that I can jump on and quit out, and it's gonna store my position on top of it, and then I can jump from that railing over the other railing and end up in the Gaping Dragon's arena from out of bounds. So let's try to do that. Gonna jump here. I clip over the railing, but it's that little clip over the railing is enough for the game to store my position there. If I quit out, I'm gonna load back on top of it, just like this, and then I can jump over this railing and end up in the arena. What's funny is that there's no boss. Kata, where's the boss? Well, the boss triggers with the cutscene. I actually jumped so far that I jumped over the cutscene trigger, which is by the fog gate. So when I just walk back here, the cutscene triggers, and the boss fight is here. Ow, I got wrecked. Okay, we get to do this again.
No.
So there's a channeler on top there. He can shoot you from into the arena. Essentially, that is not supposed to happen normally, because the memes that I did before I loaded the boss fight made him AFK for a little bit at the start. So I had to go like a lot further to get to the boss. So in a regular run, that wouldn't really happen if I wasn't showcasing all of this stuff.
Right. But it was able to target you in this instance.
Yeah, because I had to go further.
Right.
Okay, let's do this again. Jump over, stored position. This time I didn't jump as far, so the boss triggers. And I'm not gonna go as far. 1, 2, and we are done. And you could hear the spell, but you couldn't see it, because if I'm close enough to the edge here, it doesn't actually, yeah, he doesn't have the point of view to actually hit me there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's it. Now Gwyn left. I'm gonna jump down here.
Oh my gosh, we're almost done.
I'm gonna plunge this guy, because otherwise his collision would make me fall slower. Which is kind of funny.
Right. And that was an optional boss as well, right?
Yeah, Gaping Dragon and Capra are both optional, technically.
Right.
So there are 26 bosses overall. 1 is left.
Yep.
After I'm done with this run, I just promised to showcase one thing, right? In Analondo.
Yeah,
So we
please
will,
do.
I'm gonna go ahead and show two different skips. One of them that you don't do in this run, but I think is really cool, and the other one in Analondo that I promised. And that we're pretty much gonna be done. So, because I gotta get some breakfast. I have a class in about 2 hours as well, so
Right.
gotta get ready. I get hit here on purpose in order to have RTSR set up. One other thing, you saw that I didn't get staggered. That's because I was toggling my weapon. That's called a toggle escape. The action of toggling the weapon takes priority over the stagger, so I'm able to basically escape the stagger animation. Pretty cool.
Can you do that at all times?
You can do it with most attacks, not with all of them, no.
Right. Even like magic base, like spells and stuff?
For magic, it works for some, not for some others.
Okay.
Because like certain projectiles, like soul spears, for example, which, you know, we have, but also channelers have, that stuff you can toggle escape, yeah.
Oh, cool.
All right, so these bodyguards here, I wouldn't hire them. As you can see, they're kind of incompetent, literally just running through. And they cannot hit me if I have good pathing. Now the last boss of the game. We roll in to not get hit through the fog gate. He jumps in. Parry. 360. We missed the spell because we have 45 dexterity and trying to do 360s, but we get him on the third one and he's wrecked.
I mean, that would be time there. Wait, time is when exactly?
Time is gonna be soon. I'm actually gonna do the other ending because it's cooler. I wanted to link the flame, but that's no. Gonna be a chat. Time is now.
Okay.
And let's watch this ending. It looks kind of funny with the Crown of Dusk. It's yeah, the wings. I've been told that it makes us look a little bit like Heihachi Mishima if you're familiar with Tekken. I think that's kind of a good point.
Let Karth and Framt serve your highness.
Oh wow.
We are here to serve your highness.
You look great.
It's style. It's yeah.
Yeah.
The new age, you know.
Let true
Being ahead of the future, of course.
Which ending do you personally think is better?
This one, for sure. This one is actually even technically a little bit faster, so I can show this off as well. Might as well do it, right? Because normally, as you saw Gwyn, after he died, it took a very long time for him to die, for his death animation. But there's a way to actually skip it. And that is, in this game, if you are able to kill an enemy with a riposte, it makes him die instantly. Let me actually go ahead and try to showcase that, because I can combine it with a quit out the similar quit out that I did on Capra that put me at the, like, right in front of the arena. That's where the trigger for this Dark Lord ending is. And as such, I can do a pretty cool thing. So I'm going to load a save file from the 80% speedrun. You're going to get to see how the fight is done there. It's actually very different. It's pretty random and it can kill the run. So after the, like, at the very end here, you can easily just get the run killed. So this run, this fight will be done with the Musop Dragon Tooth.
Okay. But you said, so a riposte, even with this boss, will just end it, like, auto kill him.
It's actually gonna take quite a bit of attacks to do.
Oh, right. I mean,
yeah, but then it will basically kill him very fast at the end.
For the last attack, I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's try to do this again. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay, and now hopefully, if he doesn't meme me, I should be able to stagger lock him. Okay, that was a meme. But he's grabbing, so I'm able to go ahead and try to do this again. As you can see, without RTSR, without the Dragon Tooth being upgraded, like we're not actually dealing as much damage.
Right, I can see that.
Parry, riposte, and I'm gonna time my quit out just when he dies. Like this, so you saw the victory achieved. The death animation happens immediately. I load back into the game. And I'm gonna immediately spawn outside of the arena and trigger the ending. So that's quite a bit faster than waiting for him to die. It takes like about 8 seconds in a run.
Is that what you usually do?
If I don't have magic, yes. With magic,
I see.
It's just like super fast to kill him with Dark Beat that waiting for him to attack isn't really worth it.
Right, I wasn't even thinking about it until I had already asked the question.
Yeah. So that was that. Then I want to show the Analondo skip. The golden, well, not the golden Fulgate skip, the Analondo Silver Knight Archer skip. Let me see if I have a save file for that. So I do. SKAS, there we go. So this is a different way to get to the Analondo Cathedral. It's a little bit faster with arrows, but the main thing is it allows you to get to the giant blacksmith who can sell you some stuff that you might actually need in some runs very easily and very quickly. So that's why this skip is so beneficial. So first I need to actually realize what my setup for arrows here is. I might actually be arrowing right now. So I'm gonna... Right, so we saw what arrows are. We know what they do. They allow us to bypass fall damage. We're gonna activate a death cam to, again, like we did with the Sense Gate skip, there's a shortcut door in that direction. And the shortcut door from here isn't loaded. And obviously if I have the death cam active, it's not gonna load, so I can just run through it, which is nice. The thing is, this shortcut, or sorry, this death cam is a little bit different. The one at Sense, before Sense, worked as two different planes, and you only hit one of them, and the second one is a kill box that you do not hit, and as such you can survive. This one is just one plane, and it is programmed to kill you on landing on flat ground. However, fall control is really good and allows us to bypass that. So as long as fall control is active, the game's not gonna be able to deal damage to me. It's gonna try, you're gonna see that, but it's not gonna kill me. For that, it is important to have this Lingering Dragon Crest Ring equipped, because it increases the duration of the fall control spell. Otherwise, the default duration, 30 seconds, wouldn't last long enough.
Okay.
So this extends it to 45. I'm gonna cast fall control here. I should be able to air roll now. Okay, never mind. So I need to equip something else.
So it's the ring plus a spell plus something else.
Yeah, well, the ring doesn't actually weigh anything, so it's these 4 items. It's the catalyst. Actually, never
for the
mind.
right weight.
I know. I unequip the catalyst now, and this should be the setup. Yeah, so I air roll. I can survive that. And now, as long as fall control is active, I'm not gonna be killed. But you can see the blue trail behind my character. You're gonna see it a little bit better once I get to the top.
Oh my gosh.
Here. Every single frame, so 30 times per second, the game's trying to kill me here.
But it's not because of the combination of the air rolls and the fall control.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Fall control allows me to survive this. The air rolls allow me to survive the initial fall. So you just run through here. For this, I actually use the controller, because this is the one where I said I navigate around enemies. So I want to be able to have a little bit precise movements. Yeah, I even have to roll an attack here. This is the shortcut. I just ran through it. You saw the open prompt. Saw the open prompt. And I'm going to run all the way to the giant blacksmith. I'm going to quit out.
Yeah, if you didn't quit out in time, like after your spell runs out, would you die?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, here we are at the giant blacksmith. And that is the shortcut that we ran through.
That's awesome.
Could have even opened it during it, so that's pretty cool. So normally you would conduct some business here or whatever, and then you would just head over to ONS. So that's pretty cool. Now I'm gonna show you a way to skip Blighttown and go from New Londo all the way to Quillax Domain. It's my favorite skip of the game, so I have to show it to you.
Ooh, okay.
It basically is reminiscent of a lot of Zelda skips with the setup that we're gonna do and whatnot. So it should be very, very, very cool.
Are you writing code?
I'm gonna see which save file is gonna be the best one for this, because I have a bunch. I might as well just use the any percent one, I guess, as well. So let's load it. And essentially, this is a way to go from this elevator here that leads to New Londo Ruins all the way to Quelaag. And it's awesome. So it's gonna utilize the transition clip that we used for the Gaping Dragon Out of Bounds. It's gonna use the same principle. What's important to note that the 2 neighboring areas here are Firelink, which is here at the top, and New Londo, which is all the way at the bottom. So that might not seem like they are actually neighboring areas, but because the elevators don't store your position as they're unstable ground, I'm able to get on the elevator, and my last stored position right now is still like at the edge of it here. So
Right.
when I walk into New Londo, they are basically neighboring areas. So the way to clip out of bounds here is essentially to make sure that I do a setup in which I touch New Londo at the bottom for 4 frames or less, so that when I quit out, it's gonna spawn me at the top of the elevator here, but Firelink is gonna go load later, so I spawn midair and out of bound.
Right. Okay. So this is similar to earlier with the.
With the gaping, yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I'm caught
So-
up.
Awesome. So the next question would be, how are you gonna survive a fall? Yet again, from midair, there's nothing we can plunge. There's no boss that we can plunge on top of. Well, very conveniently enough, when you spawn midair, where that's like what happens when that's where your stored position is, for some reason you get a splatter animation on when you hit the ground. That's the same as when you have fall control active, which means that it's gonna be, the damage dealt to you is gonna be delayed. So I can just quit out when I hit the ground, it's gonna store my position, and I'm gonna survive. So that's amazing miracle. Another
Wow.
miracle is the out of bounds collision that works out perfectly for this game. So
Okay.
first, I'm gonna get stuck into a corner here. This is important. I'm gonna do a setup here that allows me to basically roll onto the elevator in a very precise way. And it's gonna set up my position here on top of the elevator exactly where I need it. So I aim to a specific spot, get stuck in this corner fully, and then I roll onto the elevator. I activate it. I get stuck in a corner here in the elevator, and again, I'm gonna aim to a specific spot. It's been a while since I've done this again, but hopefully should be able to pull it off. Now I'm at the bottom, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna basically backstep, roll forwards, and backstep again, and that will touch New Londo Ruins, the area right in front of me, for less
Okay.
than 4 frames. It's actually gonna
Okay.
be for exactly 1 frame, probably, maybe 2. So let's
And then
do
you're
that.
gonna reload.
And then we reload, exactly.
Okay. Here we go.
Now I'm gonna clip out of bounds.
What is this? What runs do you use this for? Oh wow! Look.
Okay, I actually misaim there. Let's see if enough quitouts will be able to solve this. My position is a little bit off there.
Okay.
You use this in basically any route. Let me reload the save file and do it again.
Okay.
You use this in any route where you do not have the master key, right? Because the master key allows you to just take the shortcut. Which actually technically is a little bit slower than doing this skip in the first place. So whenever you can
Right.
do this skip, you would do it. But for example, for any percent, I will not start as Thief. I will start as Pyromancer for some other glitches. For Wrong Wars, which is a whole nother beast entirely. Again, I have a video about that on my YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube.com/CatalystZ. But essentially, you would use it in any route that has to go to Quelac or to Blighttown, or I should say to Izalith, but doesn't have the master key, which is going to be any route that starts with the Pyromancer or routes that start as the Hunter, because you don't want to start with the master key as your starting gift, because you want to use the fire bombs for Asylum Demon and stuff like that. So
Right. So, but you said it's still slightly faster. So even with the master key, why wouldn't you do this?
because it's quite difficult. So this is something that like newer runners can definitely omit. And also
Okay.
it requires you to either have fall control or air rolls. Air rolls, as we have already established, are pretty hard in
Right, okay.
setting up when it comes to the equipment that is necessary, right?
Okay.
So it needs very specific setups. So yeah, let me roll into the corner here, from the corner rather. I'm gonna get stuck in the corner again, which is here. I think that's the correct aim. All right, this time I think everything should be just fine. So let's clip out of bounds. Just like this.
Here we go.
There we go. We land on a seam that is exactly 1 pixel wide. We
looks the
survive the
same-
fall damage. And now we are standing on this incredibly thin wall, as you can see.
It looked like the same landing as you did last time. It's made like you just know the difference. Interesting.
Yeah, essentially what happened was my positioning on top wasn't precise enough.
Okay.
When I rolled into the elevator, I wasn't completely stuck in the corner. This time, I fixed that mistake. So from
okay,
here, we need to get to the platform down there. You can see it barely on the bottom bottom left. I cannot
Past
really
the
move
big
right
wall.
now, but yeah, it is
sorry.
past that wall.
Okay.
So the way to do that is either to arrow, but that would be slow. So instead, I'm going to abuse the fact that there's another wall behind me, which isn't loaded at the moment, which extends all the way from Valley of Drakes. Like, I'm sure no one really knows where I am, but you can kind of see New Londo down there. And in this direction is Valley of Drakes, and one of the walls extends all the way from there to here. And if I load, if I roll backwards enough or fall far enough, it's gonna load that wall. I can land on it and then survive this next fall that would otherwise kill me. The way to do that, I aim in a specific direction and I will backstep and back roll. Like this. Land on the wall, roll forwards, and land down here. Right? Super cool. So now I'm at the bottom of this platform.
Wow. Okay.
And we are going to continue by walking on seams. So this seam, very thin. I'm actually gonna pull up Gadget just in case I fail this, because like I said, I haven't done this in a while. And it's actually kind of precise. So I'm gonna store my position here, just so I can show it or redo it really quickly. And this is basically 1 pixel wide, and you cannot really see where you're going. So it is quite precise. So I'm gonna try to do it here. Okay, I fell off. I don't know why I quit out. That's just a reflex. I have my position stored, so it's fine. What I need to do there is I need to start going to the left. And
Oh, I see, okay.
I should normally have the Drake sword here and be blocking, which kind of helps me out a little bit in some visual cues. So let's do that and try it again. Okay, well, I fell off again. Takes a bit of practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should get it this time. I'm walking on this seam. Okay, now I can see where I'm actually going, so that's pretty nice. So now that I'm here in this position, you might be wondering, what the heck? Like, this is New Londo, right? It's still sealed. You got the water and everything. Just about in that direction is where we did the slope quit out to get out of bounds for Four Kings and whatnot. Well, this is where the interconnectivity of the world and the way it is built comes into play. So I have to figure out what I need to equip. Is it the hilt? It might be the hilt. Let me actually test this. Okay, so it is the hilt. Fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to air roll. This slope is fantastic because it's going to speed up my full animation. So that means just 4 rolls will be enough to actually get to the bottom.
Okay. And the hilt is to help with the the air roll percentage, right?
Sorry, one more time.
You're equipping the hilt, you said, to like make sure.
Yeah, so I'm like just above 25% again.
Right. Okay. Right.
As you can see, my equip load here, the maximum threshold is not 93 in absolute value. It's 58 because I have less endurance, but the percentage value is what's important.
Right.
Actually, I'm gonna try to do this in just 3 air rolls, but again, it's been a while since I've done this, so I might actually die. But yeah, just watch this. And we are in Quelaag's domain.
Oh my gosh.
So cool. I love this skip. I hope you guys are as impressed by it as I am. Because usually
awesome.
when I showcase this in marathons, like, chat is just full of question marks. So,
Yeah. That makes sense to you all, right?
Yeah. It isn't like the most complex thing that we explained this run, but I would say this is like the coolest thing.
That was really cool. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
and the good thing is, like, because the area, doesn't load in time, I can actually fall through the ceiling, right? So you saw that it basically loads just when I'm between the ceiling and the floor. If it loaded later, I would fall through the floor. If it loaded earlier, I would just splatter on the ceiling. So that's
gotcha.
really cool.
Wow. So it's like literally perfect timing.
Yeah. So as you can see,
whoa.
Now you cannot. This is because I have the gadget open, which is the cool tool that we have for practice.
Okay.
I'm just doing this to showcase stuff. But yeah, right now you see that this area is loaded, so nothing is above me. But if I went further up, the New Londo area is directly above us. So again, so many things coming together for this skip. If you care about the story of how it was discovered, I have a video on my YouTube.
Love it though.
So many things that have to come together. The fact that you can transition clip the fact that spawning midair allows you to survive the fall damage, the fact that there is an actual slope that you can land on, a seam, sorry, the fact that there's another platform you can land on beneath it, and there's ways to avoid fall damage there, the fact the seam extends all the way to the edge there in New Londo that allows you to drop just onto the top of Quelaag's domain. It's fantastic. It's amazing, and it's definitely the coolest skip in the run. Not every route will do this, but the ones that do are, yeah, it's quite something to enjoy.
That's awesome. Cool. I love it. So what I feel like I've learned from this evening or this morning for you is that slopes are OP, and
Definitely.
how to dupe souls, and that there's a lot of stuff we still actually didn't learn about that is glitch related in this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's wrong warps and stuff that I haven't even touched upon. That's like what the entire any percent run is based on. I can show it, but I'm not gonna go ahead and give an explanation actually, simply because that will take a while, and we've been going for a bit. So this is like a little bit of a. This is a little bit of an incentive to, again, either check out my video on the wrong warp or watch some of us speedrunners do this and ask some questions.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say maybe I have to have you on again later, do a different category, or
yeah, could be. Yeah, could be.
There's a lot going on.
There's indeed a lot going on. Hold on, I need to actually double check something here.
No worries. Was there something else you wanted to show off, or are you just getting everything set?
I basically just want to show off the. I want to make sure I have the correct stuff set up with my controller, and I'm just gonna show you wrong warp. So essentially, what's happened on this save file? Let me show off. Okay, actually, let me go to filing. So what's happened here is I have awakened Framt. So that means filing altar is open. I have placed the Lord Vessel there without him. Doesn't matter. And that's the only thing I've done. I haven't killed any of the lords, so I shouldn't be able to actually access the final area.
Right.
See, he's also angry at me. He says, "You sorry fool," because I placed the Lord Vessel without him. So you got this massive gate, and you're supposed to get the 4 Lord Souls, or 2 shards and 2 Lord Souls, place them in the Lord Vessel, open it up, go kill Gwyn. Instead, what we can do is something very, very cool. So what I can do is I can warp to a different bonfire, and I can do a glitch called spell swap. Hopefully. And I can rest at this bonfire as the game is warping me away, and boom, I'm in the kiln. And the very last area of the game.
What?
So it's very cool. All right, you probably want to know the answers, so I'll give you the answer to what actually is happening here. Well,
what just happened? Yeah.
We don't know exactly what happens in the code, but essentially, if you can rest at a bonfire while you're being warped, so you change your bonfire, you're gonna invalidate, or you're gonna basically mess up with the warping sequence, right? And what ends up happening is you still get warped to the area of your last bonfire, the initial one, which is Fouling Alta, which is hold on, I need to actually... Oh, I closed off Gadget again. God dang it. Gadget is useful. Let me turn it on again. So that's right here, right? Like, it's right here.
Right.
What ends up happening is you get taken to the last area, or rather of the area of your last bonfire, but because you wronged the warp, you manipulated it by resting at a bonfire right before you were warped to the previous one, it gets corrupted, and the game instead doesn't really know where to put you, so it puts you to the default position, as we call it, which is like an arbitrary location selected by the developers inside of that area. And it just so happens that for the area, for the map of Fouling Alta, it is behind the gate at the bottom of the stairs. So there's other wrong warps we can do, and there's runs that utilize them, like the fastest all bosses route. But this is the biggest wrong warp, of course, because it allows you to skip basically the entire, like 75% of the game, essentially.
Right,
so it's pretty insane.
Yeah, and you're right. Like that is definitely more along the Zelda lines. Like that makes me think more Zelda.
And the reason that we are actually able to rest at a bonfire is also pretty magnificent because, like, while we're being warped away, so a glitch called Spell Swap allows you to essentially cast one spell with the effect of another spell. And that means I can cast Homeward, which is a miracle which acts as a homeward bone. It takes me to my last bonfire. However, the animation of Homeward is so long that until the game warps you, you're stuck. But I can cast Fireball with the effect of Homeward, and the Fireball animation is a lot faster. And because of that, the warp is already activated, but at the end of the animation, there's a couple of frames where I can perform actions. And in those couple of frames, I can actually go ahead and rest at the bonfire.
Rest of the bonfire, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Huh, that's really cool. I'm just checking it out.
There we go. So that's Homeward with the Fireball spell, and you saw that I was able to rest. Now, this is not gonna wrong warp me. Well, it actually did. Never mind. Because my last bonfire was the one in Undead Parish, so I got put into a default location of the Undead Burg, Undead Parish map. So,
wow.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to show this off, but yeah, as you can see, you can wrong warp all around the map. It's it's pretty cool, and it allows for some awesome routing, and this is what I love about Dark Souls 1. It's just the routing possibilities and the different glitches that you get to utilize, and it really opens up the game for us, all the different options that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm just sitting here like, I want to see more of these. Okay, all right. Okay, so with that being said, let's take a moment before we head out for the evening. I assume this is what you want to show for tonight.
Absolutely. This is pretty much done.
Awesome. Well, this is super fun. This is so cool to learn about, especially with a game that, I had my frustrations with, or, I didn't see all of. So it's really cool to learn more and see more. And then also just see things being done at a speed that, I never did by any means.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing you do some of the glitches when you decide to go do the DLC.
Yeah, of course, right. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be like just jump on it tomorrow. No, this is really cool. And so like what I love is not only like listening and hearing about all the things that you're able to share with us tonight, but knowing that there's so much more content out there. So perfect transition into, let's talk once again about where we can find you. Where do you post? What are you doing? What are you working on stream right now? Like tell us all of that.
Sure. So amazing segue. So you can find me on all socials at either CatalystZ or CatalystZ_, on Twitch, CatalystZ, on YouTube, CatalystZ. Like I said, on my YouTube, I post explanations of all of these different kind of things that we have in the game, all of the different glitches, and I also talk about like world record history. I talk about just all the speedrunning stories that we have with DS1 and other Souls games, hopefully in the future as well. On my stream, I stream 4 times a week. We do Dark Souls speedruns. Currently, I'm working on Dark Souls Remastered All Achievements. So the run is quite different from what I was showing here today, but it is still very glitch heavy. It's still a lot of fun. We love to just, hang around, have all kinds of discussions. Some people have told me that my stream is basically a podcast with some speedruns in the background. So if that's the stream, if that's the show you're looking for, we'd be very, very happy to welcome you in our little reset city, as we call it.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, Fu. Thank you so much for reaching out and allow me to do this with you. I really appreciate that.
Again, thanks for working around the schedule. It's been awesome getting to see all this, like super perfect for the show. Yeah, definitely please make sure you all go check out all the content that he has on his Twitch channel and his YouTube. And you can check out Twitter and all of that other stuff. I know that you have class coming up, and then I see some people in chat saying that you have a tournament in a few hours, or
that's correct. Yeah. So one more plug, essentially. We as a community, when it comes to Speed Souls, when it comes to Soulsborne games, we obviously have our own wiki, that's speedsouls.com, and we also have a channel at twitch.tv/speedsouls. And currently we are running an All Bosses Prepare to Die Edition tournament. Well, in a couple of hours, in about 4 hours from now, I'll actually be racing in one of the rounds there. And I'll be doing this exact route against my opponent. So you can be basically in the picture, you know what's happening. So if you want to check that out, give the channel a follow. and I'll try to actually do it fast there and without deaths.
That's what
That's
I was
gonna
gonna
be
say.
gonna be the goal. But of course, you never know. The race can go either way. But yeah, that should be a lot of fun. And one more thing, in at the start of November, we're also going to be hosting our annual Speed Souls Charity Marathon. We host it every year, supporting Save the Children. It's something that you should also keep your eyes on. There's already a
Yeah.
schedule out and everything. So please, if you're interested in Souls runs or Bloodborne runs or Demon Souls runs, follow the channel, check out the wiki, and yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really cool to hear about the events that you're organizing together and, some things for charity. Really, really cool. So yes, definitely go check all of that out, you all. Thank you so much for being here. Before I let you go, I just want to say that we have Frame Fatale Games Committee applications are now open. So you can go to gamesdonequick.com to apply. All of the, you can watch all of our hotfix shows and other content on youtube.com/gamesdonequick. I mentioned that earlier. Told you about some of best segments earlier. If you want to see the highlights of things such as this show, you can see some of the highlights put together. And then tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, our next show coming up this week is Random Number Generation. So that is a show about randomizers. And then on the same night, we have Aimbot. So that is a show about first-person shooters. So again, lots of awesome new content. Lots of new hotfix content. This cat is just grooming my hand. It's been like the last hour. He's been really lonely this weekend. But yes, thank you again, Catalyst. You were awesome. Look, you're waving a lot. It's been awesome. Really, really appreciate having you on. Go get ready for class. Thank you so much for being here doing this, and have a
thank
good
you
rest
for
of your
having
day.
me. Yeah, I will. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. Chat. Thanks for hanging out. You were awesome. And hopefully I'll get to see you some other day.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. Maybe he'll be back on the show sometime because there's a lot left to learn. And we will see you all in 2 Mondays from now instead of a month. So very exciting for that. So we'll see you soon. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.